Show. I'm Lee Michaels. Thank you for joining us tonight. We got a really good show for you tonight. We're going to talk about some things in the entertainment business. R. Kelly and Mario and a few other things. So stay tuned. Don't leave. Don't go anywhere. In fact, if you go ahead and share the show out right now, that would help us tremendously because social media thrives off of volume. Okay. The way this works, the more you share us out, the more people we get exposed to, the more people will then join us. And that drives us up the ladder of success. So if you do that, that'd be great. It doesn't cost you anything to do it. Share us out and give us a like. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. And that, again, will help us grow the show so that we can do more things and create some new shows. And welcome again. We got a great show for you tonight. And as usual, it's not just 5 guys, but 6 guys. This thing is like gotten pregnant and it's growing, and who knows what might be next. And that's how it goes. You know, we're trying to grow something here. So help us out. And without further ado, let me introduce the cast. Here's Dr. Ron. Doctor, how you doing?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How about you?
Man, I'm in the house. I'm in the house.
And that's a good thing. That means you got a shot for tomorrow. And
Yes,
the Chris-based man is in the house. How you doing, man?
And I am fantastic. How you doing, Guru? How you doing, Dr. Ron?
Hello, hello.
I'm good. I'm thankful and happy to be here. And let's go to Mike Love from the big state of Texas. He brings his own card.
Well, you know, this is for Dr. Ron and Chris and the professor and Buck and you, Lee. You know, I'm so happy to be amongst professionals like yourself. I mean, I give you guys a round of applause. Those are not for me. That's for you guys, man.
I mean, although
thank you.
That's some bovine, but okay. And here's the king of all bovine.
But what's a bovine?
Bo Weevil himself.
Bovine. What's a bovine?
Bovine. It's
that's
like
a dude. That's a dude that's red skinned with freckles.
Hey.
With
my natural. I'm Injun.
Warts on his forehead.
I'm Injun.
I'm not going to relate to that comment. R. Kelly in enough trouble. I'm not messing with you with that.
Bovine. The bovine is bullshit. Okay.
I figured as much.
Right.
Yeah.
You crack me up. And without further ado, here is the coolest guy in the group.
Oh, damn sure.
With all the credentials that we don't have, Professor Reggie Miles.
Thank you. You all know what the green room translation is.
Thank you.
And so do we?
So we're going to move, and I expect to have a good show. Good evening, Buck. Blessings to you, Mike Love. Blessings to you, Dr. Bass. Blessings to you, Dr. Ron, and blessings to you, Dr. Michaels.
Thank you very much.
And so I'm just glad to be a part of this August panel. I mean, this is good. I get a chance to talk pure. Never mind. Let's proceed with the funkentality.
Well, you know, before we get too deep, you were sharing something with us in the green room that you're about to take a trip to. Is it Austin or San Antonio?
San Antonio. They call it, what's that? The armpit of Texas.
Oh,
do they?
Do they call it that? So,
oh man.
But I'm going down there to talk to the dance community down there on the history of the Chicago dance. And I've been invited. They're flying me out. I'm going to be on a ranch. I'm going to get out in the country. And they call this a porch evening. It's about 50 or 60 people that I'm going to talk to. But one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how one dance brought to another dance. Because not only do I know how to play the music, I can dance. I can dance. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Can we all dance on this panel?
No. He talking about some serious stuff.
No. I'm just asking in general because generally DJs really don't know how to dance. We were all on the air at some point, so I'm like,
I've been known to cut a rug or two.
I
really?
like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know. I
I-
see. I'm from the East Coast, so what they kind of call stepping in Chicago was kind of hand dancing on the East Coast. Is
that's
that
right.
right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Hand dancing? I never heard of that one.
And all that's a
You're
DC
young
thing.
whippersnapper. That's
And
what.
that's a
Oh.
DC thing. And then they're all related because, and what that means is that the power and the rhythms of the dance is in the hands,
Right.
you know, and so that's a good thing, you know, because they are related. The Philly Bop, I think it's like our first cousin. And then
The what?
Detroit had it. The Philly Bop, and they're the only city that has their bop. That's the city dance.
Yeah.
And so that's like one of the things that stepping should be for Chicago.
Do they still have the Philly Bop today, or is it okay?
The heck,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Absolutely, yes, sir. Yes,
It,
sir.
it goes back. When did these hand dances start, Reggie?
In the 20s, I'm looking at the 20s, like when the Charleston and stuff came out. You know, our creative people, and I just read a research paper on it. Our creativeness, we began to start doing our own thing with it. They called it the Lindy Hop or the Jitterbug or something like that. And so we started developing what we did. And then, you know, there were even times where it's written that these dances, they would call hugging dances. And so I'm like, I'm looking at the slavery. I'm thinking that it was just cool, but I'm thinking of the slavery and the historical aspect, you know, because they didn't put us together like that. But, you know, and we eventually, when they did let us party on the plantations, they chronicled it as hugging dances that we used to do. Because, I mean, and then you can imagine that being in the fields all this time and you're not close to the female or nothing like that, and you just got to work. And so these hugging dances became a part of us, and now I'm like, whoa, I took it for granted because, you know, I can go out and slow dance and walk with a woman now, you know, but then it was something that was back during the slavery times. It was hard to do. We couldn't
Is
do
that
that.
the same as grinding?
Oh no, you not. Oh, don't
Hey,
get
Jamaicans.
buck started.
Hey, Jamaicans got that down.
I
Don't
don't know about that.
don't get buck started. But the grinding came out in the 60s after
Yeah.
Motown. You know when Smokey did Ooh Baby
Baby.
and
And the blue light in the
Oh,
basement kind of thing.
yeah,
and all that.
that's exactly right. Now we know all about that, but we were like out of control then. You know, that was the expression of the young male hormones. I mean, we was going for it. Now then, after the hormone stage, right, you go into the more sophisticated dance, and that's when the urban style started going into stepping and the ballroom type, you know. And then we got that from the Europeans when they were doing the waltz, because the waltz is like one of the oldest dances in the country
Ever.
and like. Yeah, and then but it was a formal type thing, and so just like when black people would dress up to go see the Negro Leagues, they would start dressing up, going to social partner dance parties. That was like top of the chain. You were wearing your best threads, your best suits, everything, and disco came and tried to disrupt that.
Yeah.
Because once the outside saw the money and how we were partying, they threw something in the game. They threw a monkey wrench in the game, and then they started building these fabulous clubs in Chicago. Remember the Nimbus and the Golden Fork, all these big with these supersonic sound systems. And then our leader started ushering in house music.
So speak.
House.
Yeah, our
You
leaders
in my
start,
hut
our leaders start ushering in house music, and of course we were doing it at Kennedy King College, right? With the what they call Friday night audio, and then next thing you know, our leader picked it up when he was at the BMX, and the next thing you know, what was it, the Hot Mix 5?
Yes, sir.
Lee was doing that house, and so.
Okay, so hold on. So now we're talking about Chicago here. Are we going to talk about Chicago's favorite son?
Which one?
R. Kelly.
I mean, y'all
Oh,
can
yeah.
do y'all
That's
can,
on the
y'all,
slate.
y'all
Yep.
can do y'all can do that. So, but I'm gonna bag up. I'm gonna do the James Brown
But,
on
but
that.
before we jump off the subject of dancing, because Buck put a question on the floor: can everybody dance?
Mhm.
So in response to that, I have supported a great number of dancers in my lifetime, $5 and $10 at a time.
No, that's not what he was
Oh,
referring.
there you go. There you go. Oh man, there you go. Oh, here we go.
Ron, that's a cotton picking shame that you would even go there. Okay.
It's dancing, ain't it?
But you're not dancing.
Yeah,
There
but I
you go.
But
supported
he's
dancing.
supporter, he's sponsor.
Well, you know what?
That's
When I
right,
found out, when I first found out that a lot of those kind of dancers sell it afterwards, I was really disappointed.
What
I
do you
really
mean,
was.
sell what?
But that's how they make money.
Sell
After they
what?
leave the club, they go home with the guy who's been tipping them all night, and he'll give them
gets
$2,000 or
tipped all
$3,000.
That's not necessarily true.
Not
Not
necessarily, but it
necessarily
happens
true.
a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing to find that because I thought they were all students, paying their way
What-
through college, like they said.
What is this look, Buck, that you be giving us when you try to talk us into something and you go, and that's exactly what happened. And it happened all night. It was. Like he's going,
I'm telling the
put us
truth.
under hypnosis.
I'm telling the truth. I'm gleaming.
So
I
do
want
you
to
have
comment.
firsthand information, Buck? How many did you go home with?
I talked to him.
Oh, that's a lie.
started
Look,
studying.
I talk.
look.
That's my problem. That's why I didn't get laid as much as I should have. I'm too busy running my mouth talking about, oh, okay, so what do you do when you're not here? Like an idiot.
Sponsoring dancers.
Meanwhile, back in Buck's world.
Okay.
I'm telling the truth.
Buck's world.
There's a comment on the screen here that I guess when we were talking about the grinding music, this one came up. Distant Lover. No.
It was
Distant
it was
Lover.
before that, man.
Absolutely.
It was way before
Marvin
that.
Gaye. It was Darling Forever. You remember that one? Forever.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I mean,
Darling
listen,
Forever?
listen.
Yeah, Forever.
Who's Marvin Gaye?
Yeah,
I
you
know
kidding.
Marvin Gaye. Stop it.
I mean,
kidding.
the Ebony's did forever, but then if you're gonna talk about some grinding,
No. Before the Ebony's.
Ebony's. Oh, okay.
You don't. Wait a minute, Reggie. You don't know Forever?
Okay, when did that come out, Lee?
60s, late 60s, or early 70s.
It must
Yeah,
have been the
before I was
early
born.
60s.
This was 60s. Wait a minute. I'm
Hey,
gonna find
you got me on that, because I was getting ready to come back with the Dales, either Stay in My Corner,
Stay in My Corner.
The Love We Had Stays.
At
on
least
My
I've heard
Mind,
of those. Yeah.
Or Always Together.
So you
know.
saying Marvin made that song, Ali?
Marvin Gaye did a song called Forever. I'm gonna
Oh
play it.
yeah, okay, yes.
No, don't-
I've
don't-
never heard that song ever.
What?
Forever in my life. I haven't.
It was a payola record.
No, it wasn't. It was a hit.
I'm kidding. Okay.
Wow. Incredible.
We talk a lot about the 60s, don't we?
I don't
The
know if you
60s.
About when I was born, before I was born.
$3
Yeah.
for car insurance. Now look at how
Can
much.
y'all
it
hear
is.
that?
Yes.
Something about car insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so was that what's his name? Harvey Fuqua?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
This is the problem when hanging out with old men.
Moon Glows or him by himself.
Now, see, that's the one that we used to jam.
Yeah.
Don't get choked up. Now,
Back
something
in the
happened.
50s.
What happened, Lee? You getting choked up? This something that was that like your
Almost
first
called her
time?
name.
Man,
Yeah, you start getting choked up.
if you cats never
Nothing.
felt what a grinding session was at a set, there
Oh,
was
yeah.
never anybody on the floor. I mean,
No.
everybody was on the wall. The guys
Right.
were on the
Up
wall.
against the wall. That's
What were
right.
they doing on the wall? What were they doing on the wall?
I mean,
Holding it up.
yeah, no.
What were they
It was
doing?
It was the closest
No.
you're gonna get to getting laid
That's
without
right.
getting laid.
That's
Right.
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 So, you were with a girl up against the wall?
Absolutely. That's where you went to put her back up against the wall, partner.
Right.
Just to grind on her.
Yeah.
Instead of taking her outside around the back and
adult-
trying to.
No.
What?
No.
Adults of
Nobody
that
did
era-
that back then?
No, nobody was going outside around in the back. No.
No, man.
Yeah.
Blue light basement party.
Did
Yeah.
you ever see? Did you ever see?
Did they have
Cooley
backyards in the house though? I mean, I'm saying.
Well,
No.
did you ever see Cooley High? Did you
Yes.
ever see Cooley High?
Back in the day, yes.
Okay, so that scene where they were in the hallway.
That's it right there.
That's it
Boom.
right there.
That's it right there. That's
And
it
That's
right
it right
adults
there.
of that era called it dry screwing.
Yeah.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. But some
Dry
of
humping.
us, some
Dry
of us
humping.
was really
That
doing
too.
it.
Dry humping, dry
Yeah.
screwing, all of that. You know.
How were you?
Some
How
of
were you
us
doing
were
in front of
really
everybody?
into
You were doing it in front of everybody, Reggie?
Nobody was
Listen,
paying attention to what you was doing.
in the blue light, nobody could see, and
Nobody
all
could
the
see
guys
you.
that were doing nothing had.
So you just unzip both your fly.
They
Okay.
had
no,
all the
no,
guys
man.
had their backs turned to the walls.
Yeah. Nobody
You know,
was
that
unzipping
was-
nothing. It
No.
was all about getting the feel.
That's
The one thing that the privacy, all of that stuff was shielded. And you didn't want to be, none of that stuff. You just went on and did. You just was hoping that you got chose by the right girl.
I was just getting ready to say that, Professor, because the girls had got together. They already knew who they was gonna be with, who they weren't gonna be with. The whole night. It was orchestrated by the women.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. 'Cause-
Those
and
little
so you-
those little fast girls. Huh?
No, I don't know about, but all I know on Friday that I was nice to everybody. Hey Mary, hey Margie, how you doing? I was being all on Friday. I was
That's right.
always cool because I didn't want to. I ain't dancing with Reggie.
Reggie know how to dance.
All he wanted to do was grind. That's all.
it.
You never wanted to get labeled like that. You never wanted to be Chester the molester. You
Right.
always had to stay cool because
Or the Kelly.
say that again.
Or the Kelly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
I mean, we'll talk about him, but you don't ever want to be caught. You didn't ever want to get caught being labeled like that.
No.
Yeah, let's talk about this for a couple, maybe 40 minutes or
in
so.
the day, though, being frantic.
Let's keep on talking about this for another 50 minutes.
No, we're
Yeah.
not.
No. We're
Oh,
gonna
my
get
God.
to where you want to go because I know you want to play R. Kelly on the radio.
Now, this was the Marvelettes version of it.
Okay.
I heard that.
You
I
can
just
break
didn't hear Marvin
Yeah.
Gaye singing it.
What about Frankie Valli? Didn't he do that one too?
No.
Oh man, and Barry recycled a lot of songs, man. A whole lot of
Exactly what I
artists.
was about to say.
I believe that.
Yeah,
We're
it's
gonna,
it's
we're
like
gonna
I heard
talk
it through
about the
grapevine.
shallots tonight too, aren't we?
Yeah, they got their start today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like I heard it through the grapevine. Marvin did it, and so did Gladys.
Gladys did it. The Temps did it.
I guess you wondered how I
Ro-
knew.
Roger did it too.
Yeah, he did.
They're like, Roger who?
Roger and Zap.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Roger Zapp. It was his solo album.
Yeah,
Okay, I stand corrected.
that
Roger.
was
Shit.
many years later. But within
Jesus.
the
The radio voice on. I stand corrected.
Shit.
yeah,
Yeah, Al said Smokey.
What Grapevine?
Smokey did
No,
great.
no, man. Roger did that with Zap.
That's what I thought.
It was on the Many Facets of Roger, his first
Oh, here
solo
we
album.
go. Let me look
All right,
that
so you
up.
got to Google.
I was in high
Google
school.
it.
I knew that.
Let me look.
I'm just be prepared to say, Buck, you were right. Just
All right.
be prepared.
All right.
One of my favorite albums. You kidding? I was in high school.
I might even say, "What the buck?"
5 minutes
What
ago,
the
you
fuck?
said you weren't even born. You got to pick
And
a lane.
in
You gotta
'83,
pick a lane.
in '83, I was born.
Oh,
Wait.
okay, all right.
Al Greer, who is also a oldie aficionado, he said Smokey. Smokey did what? Grapevine? Did he do a version of it?
Yes, he did. Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
Smokey did it on the
Temptations got a
special
version of it.
occasion album.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Ooh, that was bad. That was bad. That special occasion.
Yeah, I remember that song, but I guess I skipped over that one because I didn't want to hear nobody else do it other than Gladys and Marvin.
Yeah.
All right, so okay, now let me.
He did it first.
So this is now I heard it through the grapevine. Now it's saying now Roger and Zap. So, but I'm gonna go a little.
Whoever's
further.
saying that is wrong. It's
All
The
right.
Many Facets of Roger is the name of the album. Look it up.
I mean,
Google The Many Facets of Roger.
I'm
the biggest Roger fan, so you
rough, so tough. Now that was my favorite off of that.
It was on the same album.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Great
Same
album,
album.
right?
Same
All
album.
right, let me see. All right, let me see.
First solo album.
Being done now.
Produced by George Clinton. As a matter of fact, this is one that we were talking about a couple weeks ago, where I said George Clinton lost $3 or $4 million producing that, and he never got it back because Warner Brothers took it back from him. Yeah.
Could it have also been on a Roger and Zapp album?
Say it again.
Could it also have been on a Roger?
No, it was The Many Facets of Roger.
Okay,
it was his first solo album.
And that's right. It's got I heard it through the grapevine on there.
Absolutely.
Right. The Many Facets of Roger. All right. So let me look up Zapp and see if they did grapevine.
They didn't do it. It was only Roger.
Let's see.
Any wagers to be made? I mean, can we like exchange some like dollar bills, y'all? Can we?
Hey, I'll admit I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know what I'm talking about on this one.
Joseph said Roger did it solo. It was later on a greatest hits album by Roger and Zapp.
Aha.
Well, timing is everything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but greatest hits doesn't mean they did it originally.
That's right, Buck. You're right on that.
That's interesting. You said that. That's a heck of a statement.
What did I just say?
Maybe that's why it's called greatest hits, because it's not the original. I'm just saying.
You know what I hate? I hate when they put out a greatest hits album and it only has the short versions or the radio versions.
Oh,
I'm like, put the album version on here. What are you doing to me?
Oh, you can't. I'm glad you caught yourself. Thank you. Yeah, you
What?
can't do that.
What?
You was about to drop that.
The what?
The
I didn't
NAACP.
say anything.
You was about to say
I didn't say it.
NAACP. Yes,
I didn't say it.
You didn't say it, but it was.
I didn't say it. That sounds like a white person.
Yeah.
I didn't say it.
Never said that. Never. It was Bill.
Black friends.
My best friend is black.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
3x5 cards.
All right. So since we're talking about music, we have a couple of our hosts here tonight have picked a couple of topics. One is about.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One is about the criminal, and the other one is about Mario Van Peebles. So who wants to go first?
Well, I didn't hear what Mario did.
Well, he passed.
He died.
Okay. I thought you said he did something okay.
Yeah, he did. He died.
Yeah.
So
Won't be doing nothing else, but he did that.
Okay, I thought you meant sexual, that he did something else outside of. Okay.
That was
I got the church finger up real quick. Before we go any further, I'm gonna have to gloat for a couple of seconds. Old Guru, could you do me a favor and put up Dave Johnson's comment there in the comment section?
all right.
Mr. Dave Johnson with the Cubs logo.
Yeah.
So put that up so I can gloat for a couple of seconds. There you go.
Boom shakalaka.
There you go.
Beat the hell out of Crazy Howard McGee. Oh, did you win?
Well, here's the thing. Let me set it up. So people
Set it up.
know. So when first, it's kind of like a versus, way before verse became versus.
Wow.
So here in Chicago, we would do battles of various artists.
First of all, can you please explain who Crazy Howard McGee is for non-radio people?
You interrupted the fuck out of me. Let me talk, and I'll tell you.
Okay.
You gonna
My
get
bad.
You gonna get your ass whooped right here
Yeah,
on
right.
the internet.
On the internet, right? So real quick. So I was trying to explain that a versus, as you know, is about between artists. So musically on the radio, we would do this from years ago. So you have artists, bands, etc. Crazy Howard McGee is a talent out of here in Chicago. He's on V103 here in Chicago. So every Sunday at 5 p.m. he does the battle. So he invites the guest on. He gives the artist to the person. That's a way of cheating. He always cheats. So when I was on this past Sunday, it was Patti LaBelle versus Anita Baker. I had Miss Baker. And so when you go back and forth, if it's somebody that's voting for someone that you like, and the person calls up, he hangs up on them because he's cheating.
Yeah.
But I was able to beat that. And when he says, okay, it's a tie, that means I won.
Absolutely.
So I beat the hell out of him this past time. I want to thank Dr. Ron, Lee, and I reached out to Reggie, everybody, because I saw on social media guys put it out there, and people went and voted. Even the people that see, first of all, it was Crazy Town versus bass system. You'll always lose to bass system, no matter who you are. And what
You'll be
do.
in the basement.
Hey, man, it was on lockdown. It was on shutdown. So he could not take it. I say, you know what? You converted to bass system, and you didn't even know it. That's how smooth it is.
See?
Oh, wow, you got him good.
You got him.
I did.
Good for you.
And it was probably fun too, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun, absolutely. I thanked him. As a matter of fact, I'll be back on soon for a rematch.
He's carrying on the tradition that preceded him from Herb Kent.
Right.
Cool, Jim.
Yeah, that's right. And I was on that show with Herb, and it was Marvin Gaye versus Stevie Wonder. Now, who do you think won?
Stevie?
Whoever Herb had.
Right.
Because I know he cheated too.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So who won?
He made Marvin win.
Wow.
But Stevie had more votes.
Yeah.
And again, he would hang up on people like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. and he wouldn't count them. He had his little notepad. He would put a line down, and after 5, he would do a cross. So, yeah.
What's nothing wrong with cheating?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. And you know that, and speaking to that is a Chicago tradition
to cheat.
No, yeah, that too. But the battle.
I was about to ask that same question.
Right.
But
great minds.
I hated that. I hate Dr. Ron. I hated that. I'd never play no battles, man. I hated that.
But it was a tradition.
I hated that.
Yeah, everybody wanted to keep that alive. You know, even if you listen to certain internet stations on the weekend, they have the battle at traditionally around the same time, 5 o'clock. They get it going, you know, and usually when you tune into the battle, you're going to hear some good music.
No doubt.
No matter who they're fighting, you know, who they're comparing, you know, in the battle, it will still be some good music being played. So it's kind of a way to put on your favorite, you know, playlist, you know, and then they do the voting thing, which, like you say, is never, ever going to be fair, you know, because the host got to come back next week and the guest is never there. So, you know, they got to keep that tradition of I'm always right. And I'm the star of this hour, you know, so you're going to do what I say do, you know.
I hate that.
But you know what?
If
everybody knows that you're cheating, is it really cheating?
But once again, going back to the real reason for the music is to be able to get a good playlist out there and enjoy it.
That's exactly it.
Right. Yeah, you know, it's a good playlist. Because you think about the one that we're talking about with Chris, Anita Baker and Patty, ain't no bad music in there.
At all.
You know what I'm saying? You know, that's like
vote.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, man, that's a jam. Oh, that's another jam.
But you know, I mean,
that's good. That's good, Anita and Patty.
And that's very good.
When you talking about Delphonics against the Temptations or some stuff like that, man.
It's all bad.
Yeah, you know, because some of them were really, really just way off base. As far as you know, the musical.
Who would you put up against the Temps?
Another 5.
You got the 4 Tops.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put the Tops on them. I put another 5.
I've
five
seen
boys
the go up against the Temptations.
Dramatics.
Be close.
Yeah.
See, I don't think
you gotta have somebody that's got just as many hits. That's the key. You know, you want to put somebody up.
Well, you know what? There are so many artists from when I was growing up where there'd be an album and one good song, maybe 2.
Right.
You know, so it's like
that's like her played Luther against Walter Jackson.
No. No,
I mean, that was the battle.
Walter didn't even have the catalog to stand up against.
I mean, you know, but he was a solo artist, and I'm not trying to defend his choice, but I'm just saying, you know, it was good music on both sides.
Yeah, and that was just to get a real wide audience, because you know, folk, and then, you know, you got the older folk that love Walter with the songs that he did, and then you got those contemporary people that's right behind them old people that love Luther, you know.
Right.
So that I could dig that.
Notice how I'm shaking my head like I know who Walter is.
Yeah, right. We understand.
Okay. I'm just trying to be agreeable.
Hey, just to let you know, when you
team
don't
player,
just sit there and just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Or either just take out a notepad and take you some notes. Walter Jackson, Jackson, you know, he was a paralyzed singer.
Okay,
and he would come out on the stage in the crutches.
And
he could, and next thing you know, the women is trying to throw their panties up to him because he's killing.
What
He's
you mean?
blowing.
Crying, they did.
Yeah.
Wow. Before Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah,
man,
this cat is blowing. He blowing, man.
Man,
he
smooth.
is blowing.
Smooth.
Yep.
He was so smooth, man, with his voice.
Wow.
A very angry black man. But
a cold, what you call a baritone cat.
Yes.
And could hit that tenor range so pretty. And it was pretty, man. This dude.
Smooth.
Whoa.
He was smooth, man. He was so smooth, man. I'm telling you. Oh my God. His voice was velvet. Go ahead.
But going back to what we're going to be saying, Dr. Ron, you know, it's great to get that music out there. And it's wax nostalgia. You know, you have memories of it, obviously. And it's a great time to be on the show. Even though the dude does cheat in tradition with Herb Kent. Now, once again, someone put in the comment section earlier who heard the show, I channeled Herb Kent to make sure I win. So I got on the air. I was like, hey, this is Herbert Rogers Kent, and I'm back. I want you to make sure you vote Anita Baker. If you don't, I'm going to come to your house and haunt you. V1. And he cut me off. You know, I still won, you know. So look, I had Herbert Rogers Kent Ghost on my side. So
yeah, that's good.
Really?
But I think you answered it. I mean, that was the whole thing. It's not about really a battle. It's about the exposure of the music, because it's so many times you never heard the B-sides. You didn't hear these other records that came out by the artists. And so at this point, you don't really want people to get caught up in a battle. You want to be able to play these songs. And they don't even know they're being tricked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Programming.
Right. It's programming.
I was always disappointed in these whole versus battles on social media, where, you know, they build up a who's gonna win, such and such versus such and such, and then you get on and all they're doing is just, you know, jerking each other off. It's like, really? This is a battle where they're just propping each other up.
Well, you know, the thing of it is, when the versus battles first came out, it was about the versus. Okay. And then it became a brand, and that was just a title between the two. But think about it. Who were we saying? Anita Baker, and who was it? Patti LaBelle? Who was it? What's giving you the best that I got? I bet everything on my wedding ring that I'm giving you the best. That lyric?
You still?
Oh my God!
Did she write all of her stuff? I don't remember.
No.
What'd you say, Lee? I don't know.
You still got that ring?
Yeah, I kept it. Yeah, I asked for the ring back.
Look, you see,
there you go.
You see what Al said, right?
I asked for the ring back.
Yeah, he said, "Did someone say B-sides?" That's the name of his show.
See, I got you back. Al, I got you back, baby. B-sides, I got you back. But that's what it was. I mean, think about how many. The only time, okay, and like I said, we're telling our ages, but the B-side was the things. A lot of people played the B-sides. You never heard it, like on the Jacksons. I forgot what was on the A side, but on the I can't think of the name of that record right now.
You don't have to tell your age, by the way.
Well, good. I don't want to. I'm proud of my age. I'm 64. I don't have a problem with it. Okay.
I didn't make you lose your train of thought. You lost it already, Grandpa.
That's right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I need to go over here and get me some soup and some crackers now. And you didn't been messing with me. And you know I'm going to have to pee in a minute. Now stop messing with me, boy.
And that's going to take a while.
Oh, Lord.
It used to shoot out. Now it just trickles.
Hey, Mike, I got you. Keep living. Keep living.
Thank you, Dr. Ron.
Keep living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me, before we get too deep, but let me just throw one out. Who would you put up against the Delphonics?
That's when you go Dells.
The OJs. The OJs.
I don't know, Professor.
I think OJs would kill the
I mean, just based on
depends on the age demographic, though.
Yeah, they're just based on the group, man. Three-part harmony. That's what I'm.
Yeah, well, I guess. Okay, performance. Yes.
Yeah.
Shy-Lights versus the Delphonics, maybe.
Yeah, that's better. I like that Shy-Lights better.
Yeah.
Or the Stylistics.
Now that's more of a battle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do that one.
Are all these groups still alive? Just asking.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Members. Hey, Buck, go to your room.
Speaking of which,
no, I'm just asking.
Buck, go to your room.
Yeah. That wasn't a dig. That wasn't a dig at all. That wasn't a dig. That was a dig.
Buck, go to your room.
Yeah, that was really a serious question, because if they were gonna do like a versus battle on Instagram or whatever, that would be kind of cool. But if they're not alive, that would.
Buck, go to your room. Go to your room.
Speaking of which, today in California, on the Hollywood Walk, Marshall Thompson, the last man standing of the group The Shy-Lights, was there to celebrate receiving the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
62 years waiting.
Now, what took so damn long? What took so long?
Right there.
And he brought out Gene Chandler, Frida Payne. There was an all-star cast that showed up to help celebrate. J.J. Jackson from Good Times.
J.J. Jackson.
You mean Walker?
Walker. Yeah, Walker. My bad.
Oh, Jimmy Walker.
And
I'm just glad he didn't say Dynamite.
Thelma was there. They had an old DJ from New York.
Hey, wait. Hold on, Dr. Ron. Now, I syndicate that show. Watch yourself, boy. Jeff Fox, the Fox that rocks the box, was the host.
Yes, he was on there. Yeah.
Wait, you know what? I'm so happy that Marshall was there to receive that. But that whole star on the Walk of Fame is really, it's political, and it's all about currency, because you can
you could buy it.
Ron, I can buy a star for you. I think they're about $75,000 now.
I'm about to say, you got enough money. You need to do that. That would be a good thing.
Yeah.
So Ron, give me $100,000.
And you'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Ron just wants to make sure that he can use his background.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't see my room.
Put my background up.
And I got to say this. I applaud Marshall because he is a personal friend of mine. He's been on my show many times before. And, he refused to retire. This dude was still going on tour after 2 strokes. 2 strokes. He's still going out there.
That's hard right there. That's hard.
But I think he's officially retired now, but he still got some tricks up his sleeve. He ain't through yet, trying to keep pushing his music out there, keeping it alive, and believe it or not, the Shy-Lights were still, selling out auditoriums when they were booked and performing overseas and in the United States.
Absolutely.
They deserve the accolades and the love that they received on today, plus some, but trust me, he ain't gone nowhere. He got too damn many kids all across the world that have to quit,
Just like you.
Oh my God.
Just like you.
My God. He's a real friendly guy.
Oh,
He's a real friendly guy.
There you go.
Look, wait a minute. Let me tell this story, then we're going to go back to Chris with his. But I had him on my show.
Back to you with yours.
Yeah, when he came on, he had just came back from the UK, and they did a video clip of them being on stage, and he had a son and a grandchild to come on stage that he never even knew he had.
Ooh.
You know, so now he's on stage, the kids crying, he crying, you know, that's my grandpa.
That's my grandma. My mama had said that he came on my grandma when it was
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he was telling us about that story. Then he went on to tell us about this castle that when they went to the UK that they would rent for the artists to stay in. You know, so he said,
castle?
like,
Wow.
yeah, you know, instead of a hotel, they stayed in a castle, you know, and
That's interesting.
and he said the Temptations was in the castle, they was in the castle, and some miscellaneous ghosts. He said every damn night something was whistling down that hallway.
I'd have been out of that, Jack. Like, I got it.
but you know, interesting stories. When you travel around the world on tour, you know, you got stories like that. But I tell you, he had the video that he shared with us about the grandkids that he had never ever seen before.
That is incredible.
You know?
Wow.
And I was like, boy, you ought not tell nobody you had babies that you didn't know nothing about. You know?
Exactly.
You know, and then he sent a clip out at one time. A guy that used to be a Shylight was on one of them court shows. Okay. You know, and it was like 3 or 4 of them that said that the one who was suing them said that he wasn't their daddy. You know, and then
You are not the
the
father.
other 2 had joined forces and finally did DNA and said, yeah, he the daddy. So they read a letter from Marshall, said, yeah, your mama gave him some. So he could very well, you know, he could very well be the daddy. So then the judge read the DNA and and he said, that's your brother over there. And they was like, okay, welcome to the family.
Oh my God. I can never look at grandma the same.
Oh, man.
Grandma.
Oh my God. They was all terrible, you know, at one point in time. So, you know, moving right along, I give my time back to Chris.
Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? That's all I want to know. Just tell me, have you seen my grandmama?
Man. It was hilarious.
Oh my God.
It's funny. Oh my God. See, you were supposed to wait until after he passed on to tell that story.
Yeah.
Hey man, I got the video, bro.
It's too late now. It's out.
It's already public domain, in other words.
Yes. Yes. I'm just like, I remember the time.
Dirty Ron.
I'm just saying, you know, that's stuck in my mind though right now. You find out that your grandmama. I don't want to see grandmama like that.
Oh man.
Not grandma.
It's too late. It's too late.
You know? God.
Yep, it's too
All
late.
right,
Well, baby, I went to the concert and the man was on the stand. He said, have you seen? I thought he was singing to me, and I came and had invited him back for some black eyed peas and ham hocks at the house. And
fried chicken, don't forget
some fried chicken. Yep. And next thing I know, my skirt got caught in the stove. And don't ask me no more questions.
Yep. Look, that's being a good Baptist.
Yeah. Absolutely. Praise God. Come on now. Grandma didn't mean that. She had bent over to get that cornbread out the oven.
So there's another Chicago famous name by the name of Ara Kelly.
Oh, there we go.
Ara.
We're going hard now, y'all. Now, you know, go ahead, Lee. You gonna build it up even more?
Robert.
Now the thing about Robert Kelly is this. We talked about him, you know, a couple of months back, you know, in the same breath that we talked about, you know, Bill Cosby and other people that were accused of things. And, you know, Robert had a reputation in Chicago of, you know, being, you know, a pedophile. Ain't no way around it. He already had a reputation. Okay. And he had state charges, a couple of decades ago that he actually paid his way out of. in Florida and in Illinois. Well, this time the feds got a hold of his tail. And according to the feds in New York, because he got charges in New York, Illinois, and Minnesota. Okay, he got state charges in Minnesota. He still got federal charges to face here in Illinois. Now, of course, on This Week, everybody knows because it made all the headlines that he got found guilty on all counts. There was no mistake. All counts. The jury didn't have no, well, we don't know about this one. Everything. Racketeering and sex trafficking. I mean, everybody that testified, and he didn't present any defense, so I don't know how the hell he thought he was gonna get off. I mean, his determination.
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. You just said I don't know how the hell he got off.
How he expected to get off.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say, didn't you see the video? We saw exactly how he got off.
I saw the video.
Okay.
And look, and then he tried to blame that on his brother.
Yeah. Hey, Robert.
he tried to blame it on his brother. He really did. He said, "Hey man, tell everybody it was you."
But in the video, if you saw the video, his brother's knocking at the door while Robert was knocking at the door.
Well, while
knocking the boot.
While he was relieving himself on video on that young lady.
And you could hear the brother in the background going, "Yo, Robert! Yo, Robert!"
So he gonna get slammed. Okay. The sentencing, when he goes in, they said no less than 10 years and as much as life. Okay. On all of these charges that he's been convicted of. And then he got to come back to Illinois and they're going to rip him over the coals some more because they're going to bring another 25 different chicks in there to tell on him for what he has done. So, we talked about him on this show before, but now he's open season. There is no more shadow of a doubt of his innocence or guilt. Okay. He got slammed. Okay.
Now, let's assume that he's going to go to jail for a long time. And I think that's what's going to happen. Whether it's going to be life or not, I don't know. But should he and others that have had similar issues still receive their royalty, earnings? Because, he wrote a lot of songs. So he gets at least $1.5 million a year off of that, I've read.
It's not, well, is his talent in question? No, is it?
I don't know. I mean, or should that money go to the victims?
Who's going to take it?
The feds could.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Well, I think before he went to jail, and I'm not sure, this might be something that you can look into, but I think he signed over a lot of his royalties to someone else so he can say he was broke. But that was a tactic that I believe he tried to do because when it came time to post bond here in Illinois, he said he didn't have no money. Okay. Then he turned around because he never paid his child support on time. So, his baby mama was trying to get paid. And then the court made him pay her out of some of the money that somebody else put up.
Are you talking about Drea Kelly?
His wife,
yeah.
I think he only had one. Yeah, besides Aaliyah, but the one he got the kids with. So,
did he have any other kids that we know of?
Not that I know of off the top of my head. I know that the two that he had with his wife, he was behind, quite a bit on child support, and then the court made him pay. I forget what the amount was right now because that was a little while back, but that was before his house of glass started crumbling all around him. But in response to your question, that question has been floating across the internet quite a bit. Should we continue to play his music, knowing, you know, what he is guilty of. And my thought on that is that, you know, he's got a talented voice. He has put some very good music together. And if you enjoy his music, then play his music. If you don't enjoy his music, then don't play his music. So, it's just that simple. You know, I don't think it's a question of whether you're endorsing what he got convicted of. I don't think that's the question.
Okay, Professor Miles.
I see him down there now.
What's your thoughts on this?
Man, in order for me to get through this here, I'll have to cuss. So I'll really.
Don't do that. Oh, goodness,
I'll really have to cuss. You know, I mean,
okay. Can you make it
everybody? Yeah, look,
a little mild. Go ahead and
okay. Let me just ask a question. Let me ask a question. I mean, I got to ask a question.
Go ahead, ask it.
Can a brother really be that stupid or caught up like that?
Arrogant.
I mean, can they really be? Because you know I'm like on the conspiracy thing, man. Because this dude ain't gonna have nothing ever, and I think they was in to get his stuff from Jump Street. They look this cat, whatever he was.
Who is they, Professor? Okay.
And they knew this man had talent, and they also knew that this man had this sickness.
Have we established who they is yet? I don't know.
But go to
must
your
have missed
room.
it.
Buck, go to your room.
He didn't see the signal when you gave.
Yeah, Buck,
I'm gonna mute him and then nude him.
Yeah, Buck, go to Buck. You excused to go to your room. But listen, I think the powers that be, the elite or whoever put the initial money in behind him, they were going to end up knowing that they were going to eventually have a cash cow, because this cat ain't going to have nothing. And now all of a sudden we sitting up here arguing about whether or not we going to play his music or not. Because when this music gets played, people are going to go buy it. They're going to do something with it. Personally, I ain't never liked no song he did. I didn't like him because I wasn't cool with the soloist. You know, I'm a group cat. But I wasn't fair. I wasn't gonna flip out over him. I wasn't gonna go see him play or nothing like that. I wasn't gonna go see him in concert or nothing like that. So you know me, I'm on the other side. I'm not on the boat with the crowd with everybody. Now, if it'd been the Temps or the Dramatics or somebody else like that, or Maze or something like that, I'm gonna go crazy. But not over no one singer. I ain't, that's just me.
Now, what about Elvis? Someone posed this question in the chat room. Let me see if I can find it here. Because he was accused, and I don't know, obviously not convicted, but
him and Jerry Lee Lewis too.
Out of control.
Yeah.
They were out of control.
Come on, man. And these cats know this stuff when this boy started this stuff, but they knew he had talent. So
that comes with the territory.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
And I think, it's like Dr. Ron said a few minutes ago, it's a place where it's a personal preference. I'm not making excuses for R. Kelly and being in the music and the radio industry. Trust and believe me, a lot worse has happened that we'll probably never hear about amongst people that we even know personally. Okay. And I think at the end of the day, as long as whatever laws that he broke, that he pays for, that is the most important thing. That's what really has to be addressed. I think I don't want to say it's a waste of time to talk about whether radio should still be playing his songs or not. That's a move, that can be done based on the fact, if people are calling and asking for the music, all right, I don't know, but I don't think that that's the case. And I'm not sure if that was you, Dr. Ron, or you, Professor, that said people are going to buy his music regardless. The question is
not as much.
It's not as much, right?
Yeah.
But somebody's going to buy his music. But I think the question at hand is, where does the law come in to protect the victim who is underage? And as long as justice is served there, is the rest is left on him and his God, if he has one.
Yeah. So if you're an entertainer and you're convicted of a crime and you're getting residuals or royalty checks every quarter, so what's the basic feelings that person should continue to receive their earnings? I mean, just like OJ. OJ lost everything, but the retirement money from the NFL was not attachable in any kind of way through a civil suit. So he's still getting that pension money.
Right.
How did you feel about that? And then what about Bill Cosby? And then you went to flip the script. What about all these cops that have killed people and convicted, especially in the George Floyd situation? He's got $1.5 million in retirement money coming to him.
Well, the guy had, when they discussed, he had like $750,000 in a bank account that him and his wife had put together. We're talking about the police officer that shot George Floyd. Right. So once again, it's kind of hard to match up the two.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do you say Derek Chauvin had $700,000?
They say like $750,000.
Where does he get that kind of money from?
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I didn't investigate it, but that came out as part of his where he was at financially. When you go under,
he's going to receive that money while sitting in jail.
Yeah, I mean, he can't spend it.
Yeah,
I mean, he can't do anything with it, even if he gets it.
He can pay Bubba to keep coming in there every night.
Well, he could, Bubba can come in there. That's right. Bubba can.
He gonna need protection.
He's gonna be fat.
Yeah, definitely.
Protection, so he can pay Bubba. Nobody comes in after I go to bed. Okay.
That's right. But seriously, I think that if I'm using the right word, restitution, is that it?
Right.
If that's being done correctly, is where the whole rubber meets the road. I think worrying about whether they're going to get their pension or not, or they're going to get their royalties and this, that, and the other thing. If they're supposed to be behind bars, that's what should be happening. If you raped, took advantage, or had sex with an underage woman, and now we don't know if it was her will or not. Some details we know, some we don't know.
It doesn't matter if she's underage.
If she's underage, that's exactly it. That's where I think things need to be narrowed in. You got to deal with that. Is he going to serve time for the crime of that particular situation?
One of the things I find most interesting about the R. Kelly thing is, now my memory might be a little bit off, but if I remember correctly, nobody was really talking about R. Kelly. This whole legal drama really didn't start up until that special on, was it? I can't remember which network it was. BET, wow. Was it? Surviving R. Kelly. Mm-hmm. It's like then all of a sudden they were like, "Well, did he do it? Look at we saw the
well, that's not necessarily true. They were talking about him with Aaliyah. They just never got the traction that they wanted.
Right, and it started. That's when it started, though. After that show, Surviving R. Kelly,
right? Exactly.
Which is interesting because it's like we forget the power of the media, and I don't know whether whoever produced that show or who came up with the idea of the show was, let's go ahead and see if we can't get this dude now.
I think John Legend had something to do with the production of that.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, think about, when you talk about the power is all about the money. Once again, they were trying to say the whole thing. They were trying to keep him from marrying Aaliyah, the whole 9 yards, but money kept that fueled to the point that they couldn't stop it.
Yeah. And even before he had money, I remember one night, Al Greer was talking about it on his show, and I actually called in, and Robert Kelly at a young age was going to a local high school on the south side of Chicago to pick up young girls at the end of the school day at 3:00. Now, Helen Wooten, which some of us know, some of us don't know, was managing him. And she said to me many times, when Robert was under my care, I kept him out of trouble. When he got older and started branching out, then he wasn't listening to anybody.
He had he had money.
Well, but you know what though? Hey,
but people that could mentor him, and I think it's a lot more people behind the scenes that should take responsibility for allowing him to run wild the way that he did, because he did run wild.
Let me tell you, I interviewed him twice. And when Mike, you hooked up the first interview. Remember back in the early days of BLS, where he was with Public Announcement. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He was so arrogant, and I don't know whether it was because of money, of the fame, or whatever. But he was. I mean, he was cool, but just you could tell very arrogant, just like the opposite of Tupac. I thought Tupac would be really cocky. And Tupac was as cool as a cucumber. Surprise. But R. Kelly, like, all right, bro.
I only met him one time. It was in Chicago at some event at a hotel in the Grand Ballroom. I don't even remember what the event was. And I was not impressed. He's just another one of those guys that came and went.
And he screwed over the guys that helped make him famous, because he got the record deal, and the rest of the group did not.
But you know what? He was a very talented producer, though. I liked his production even more so than his singing. His production was just top notch.
Yeah,
and that's not easy.
And he was a talented young man. I use the word past tense because he's gonna be singing in the shower and hope he don't drop the soap.
Singing in the rain.
Good one already.
Maybe he will continue to write while behind bars, and I don't know if he will be allowed to, get that out to somebody else, producing somebody from behind bars or writing for someone, or I don't know.
I wonder how they'll treat him in prison. That's an interesting question.
Will he be a celebrity? He can probably be in the prison choir. They'll let him in.
No, I'm saying, will they be getting autographs and stuff? I mean, he's still R. Kelly.
They put that dude in solitary confinement because
I don't know.
And them cats was gonna tear him up because they was having this. It was a protest and stuff was going on. And when all that stuff was protesting was going on where he was at, they locked down the prison. And so them prisoners got mad at that. We don't need this dude in here.
Right.
We don't need him in here because they was taking the rights from everybody because of this dude's celebrity.
They were getting punished.
Right. So
he gonna have a hard way to go. He definitely gonna have a hard way to go because he doesn't feel like he's on a level all to himself in his arrogance in his mind. Like, I don't need to be around the common folk,
And they played him on that. He got played. He got played. Because I don't know how this cat gonna go up there and go on CBS. And I don't know who the people was around him. And he let the girl Gail tear him up, and then he gonna start crying. Why y'all trying to get me? Oh man,
that was crazy. Yeah,
you know what? You wasn't supposed to do none of that.
Hey, but you know what? If you know a liar, that's what liars do. They figure that if they get mad, you'll believe that they're telling the truth. Idiots.
He made somebody mad because they left this dude out here to get run. They lit him up like they made Swiss cheese out of this dude, man. He got more holes in him. But who did he make mad? Who did he piss off?
Well, here's the question. Who thinks that he has a sickness? And is this sickness, obviously it's not an excuse.
That's
is it a sickness or is he just arrogant? I don't know.
Listen.
Well,
it's obvious that he got a sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no question about it. He had no control over his desires.
Yeah.
When you have money, when you have access and money at a certain level, you know, your whole mindset. That's why in the Bible it says the love of money.
Right, and not money itself. Right.
Right. The love of money.
Yeah.
And when somebody is at your beck and call, somebody's aunt, you know, because they need money or they want to be associated with you, sometimes it's other people's faults for who these people turn out to be, because you make these people something that they're not, because you're trying to be a part of their circle. Yeah. You're trying to be, yeah, man, I'm telling you, Mike. Yeah, man, you know, you should go over and tell that Lee Michaels, man, that it just needs to be you and Dr. Ron on that show. And that's all it is. You know, people will just try to pump you up and just because they're trying to get a position with you. Yeah. And that's where these folks in entertainment fail, because they start drinking the
Kool-Aid. They left that boy didn't have nobody. For him to get caught up and to get ate up in the media and to turn his whole thing into a circus where he ain't gonna have nothing. I'm trying to figure out, man, how did you F up like that?
But because you know, he tried to defy law.
But hold on a second. Think about this. Most criminals don't ever think they're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
You know, they say some of the smartest people in the world are locked up.
That's right. Now speaking to the illness part, Lee, you know, some years ago, many years ago in Detroit, there was a father who had a son who had molested one of their younger relatives. He walked his son across the street from his house and put a bullet in his head because he said there is no cure for a pedophile. Mm. And he knew that. Now, of course, the father went to jail, but he was not going to allow his son to hurt anybody else in this lifetime. He took him straight out. You know, now some people say the father was wrong, but you know, when a person has that type of illness, there is no cure for that. Ain't no therapy, ain't no pill, ain't nothing you can do.
But that makes the father the judge, jury, and executioner.
Well, he didn't want his son to cause that pain on anybody else. He had already molested somebody in their family that was a single-digit child.
I get that. But judge, jury, and executioner.
Man, let me tell you something. And I don't know, probably nobody else on here would be, you know, bold enough to say this. Let me find out a pedophile that did something to one of my grandchildren. His ass is out of here. You know, I'm going to cut his throat. I'm going to do like they do over there in the Middle East. I'm going to cut his throat and hang his head on a stick. Okay?
Well, you just have to hope you don't get locked up.
I'm looking.
And you have to hope.
Look, wait a minute. I'm going to do it like they do it. I'm going to do it on video.
You have to hope the Lord will forgive you later on. Because that's not what the Lord will want you to do, I'm sure.
Hey, man, at that point in time, I'm gonna throw mercy. I'm gonna throw myself on the grace and mercy of the Lord. But he ain't gonna be screwing nobody else. Man, nobody.
You know, I got this 14-year-old girl, and I'm 67. Okay, I'm 67. And if anything, any kind of way comes across her, I'm giving my life up. I'm tearing them up. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
But you're not going to ruin that. Not that girl, not my baby, not her.
Right.
You know, I have no more life after that. I'm living right now for that child. There's no question in my mind, but I'm not going to try to seed and fuel that stuff. I'm going to teach my baby. I'm going to teach my baby to protect herself, how to stay with her family.
Come on, now you talking.
How to let me know about these things, because you know can't nobody run no game on her, because the daddy is the gamer. So bring that to me. If somebody's got to say, if one of my daughters was infatuated, or if I knew a child that was infatuated with Mr. Kelly, and I told my baby, any boy talks to you, he got to come and talk to me. Exactly. Period.
I used to be.
Exactly.
Period.
You know, Professor, let me say this, and I applaud you for what you just said. You had me going in one direction, and then you made a hard left, and I'm here to cheer you on. Because the bottom line is, what are we teaching our children?
Right.
Sometimes the parents of these young kids are just excited about these crazies as the kids are. At what point, I mean, when you just said that now, man, you just took, I mean, you brought it home. You brought it home. When your child, when you got to negotiate with your child over something is wrong. Because you already know that he's sick. Now, you understand that the child hadn't been around long enough to understand, sick, psychotic people, whatever the case may be. But you just said it, and that's where we're losing everything. When you think about the music that's out today, and I'm not here to criticize it. I consult stations that play hip hop music. I have to go get the music. I have to listen to the entire song. There's a song, the name of the group is called Beat Kings, okay? And the name of the song is called Then Leave. The lyric goes like this: get your head, get your bread, then leave. If you catch your daughter listening to that, or you in the car with her singing that, you got a problem.
But it's a little different though with music.
No. I'm not going to agree with that. I'm sorry, Buck.
Well, you haven't let me finish either, have you? I think back when I was young, and mind you, the music back then was a lot more subtle, but there was a lot of lyrics in there that were really suggestive that I didn't know what, didn't even think about it. Even if I knew what it meant, I wasn't thinking about it. It was just music to me. It was art. So there's a lot to be said for music being art, and sometimes art does imitate life, and life imitates art. But it's just music. Just because it's like video games. Now, I hate the idea of violent video games. I really do hate that. I'm like, what possesses somebody to want to play a game where they're shooting and killing people like in cold blood? Just one of the worst things ever. But there's a lot of people that argue, well, just because I shoot people on a video game doesn't mean necessarily that I want to go out and shoot somebody in real life. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but there is an argument to be made. It's art. It's a game. It's fun. It's not. You ain't out shooting. Just same thing with the song with song lyrics.
Let me give my $1.02 here about R. Kelly, since I've been listening. It's very more than interesting. I listened to a radio program years ago, and Ron Isley was the guest. And the host asked him, what were the geniuses you ever worked with? Only two: Stevie Wonder and R. Kelly. This comes from Ron Isley. Wow. So we already established the genius of an R. Kelly.
I could see that.
I went to school with R. Kelly. Went to Kenwood Academy together.
Oh, wow.
He was never in class. I mean, anybody tell you back in the day, hey, where's Robert at? I don't know. He's either in the music room or he's playing basketball. And that's where I saw our brother. We used to play basketball together. Pick up, hey, man, you want to run with me? And that's how I knew him. I didn't know he went to school with him. I just thought some dude on the court just went there to play basketball. So he was obviously deep into what he did. He never, like I said, I never knew anybody that had any classes with him. But when we had like the music specials for Christmas time, and he would do these solos and everything, I mean, once again, we can tell where his trajectory was going to go. So let's see, my wife Vicky came out in 1985. I came out the following year in 86. So we fast forward 10 years. My wife Vicky comes to me, hey, do you remember a guy named John from Kenwood? I said, no, don't recall him. Why is that? Well, I ran into him. He's in charge of R. Kelly's security. And I was out of radio at the time. Do you want to talk to him about possibly getting a job working security? I said, to be honest, I don't really know the motherfucker. I mean, it's been 10 years. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I drink some beer and have to reminisce, then we might have a conversation. So it was the week of the reunion, 10-year reunion for them. I met the dude that Sunday at the picnic. And I said, brother, before we get started, it's been 10 years. I don't remember you. My wife says, y'all met everything. I just don't remember you. It's been 10 years, but I'm sure we sit down and reminisce for a little bit. everything be all right. Oh, damn, man. You don't know who I am? Nope. I don't know. I don't know you from a can of paint. But if I sit down and drink with you and get some ideas and everything and go back, it's been 10 years, bro. Hey, bro, we had 3 years of gym together. Okay, 3 years of gym. Let me ask you a question. Do we have any classes outside the gym, like biology like that? Nope. Okay. Did we ever hang out outside, like go to some parties or something like that? Nope. Did we ever cut class together and go by the lakefront, and drink? Nope. All right, then. So, dude, I'm sorry. It's 3 years of gym. I'm sorry. Maybe 3 years of gym was important to you. It's gym. Needless to say, I did not get the job by that point. I was like,
obviously not. You ain't gonna get that job.
No, dude. I mean, I'm sorry. It's gym. It's not that we never hung out socially. God damn it, man. It's gym. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to save the goddamn world.
I didn't want to be there. Maybe you did, but I didn't even want to be there.
Thank you. Right, exactly. So having known that was my first connection. Then we fast forward some years. My oldest daughter, Brianna, was taking out the garbage in the summertime. She comes back, Daddy, this guy hit on me. He's repairing his car, and he's hitting on me. I said, I'll be right back. So the guy was across the street from the house repairing his car. I said, brother, man, you see a young lady walk past with the garbage? Yeah, that's my daughter. She's 12. Don't step her like that. And he says the following. Man, if R. Kelly can do it, so can I.
Wow.
What?
That's crazy.
He had a tire iron next to his car. I can sit here in front. The first thing that came to my mind was to take that goddamn tire iron and bust his head to the white meat show. It took everything and out
of that car for sure.
Man, it would have been lights out everybody. I mean, that's how close I came to beating him with that tire iron, calling 911. Yes, I did it.
And it's a good thing you didn't have a gun on you.
It would have been lights out.
Yeah.
It would have been lights. And my point is the mentality of what R. Kelly did to give pedophiles a new hero. Because now it's justified.
Yeah. And you don't hear stories like this often. Yeah.
Right. But now as a pedophile, I don't feel as bad. Because if he can do it, I got carte blanche now. It was no secret. He, meaning R. Kelly, came by Kenwood all the time, especially in the summertime, with his car. It's not a form of just being a pedophile when you have that type of predatory situation, just like anybody with an ice cream truck or anybody with children that's going to draw them near to the predator.
I just never understood. Now, we all knew Aaliyah was gorgeous, but why couldn't you just wait till she turned 18? I mean,
that whole thing sounds forced. Anyway.
Man, come on. He wanted them young and tender, and
she's still gonna be young and tender at 18, though. I don't quite understand that.
But listen to what Leah's saying.
Have you ever seen the interview with Aaliyah's uncle?
No.
To this day, he is still broken up over what happened and how Robert tricked the family about that young lady.
How did he trick her? How did he trick them about?
You got to go look up the interview, but he explains in detail how he tricked her into, like, I'm gonna produce this song, we're gonna do this video. He did a lot of things that were drawing her in, which were her interests.
But he did them, didn't he?
Not everything, no. And then there was some
right. It goes back to what Professor was saying earlier.
Yeah. It was some red flags in the relationship that they tried to rescue her and do an intervention.
Too late.
Yeah. But even to this day, he did an interview like over the last week or so that I saw. And he was, he's still broken up over what was allowed to happen. So, to the family of Aaliyah, who sees this, this conviction come down where she was a part of his prosecution, and even the uncle went so far as to say he's not sure that crash was an accident that killed her.
Wow.
man. Listen, man. Like I'm saying, man. Like I said before, man. It's like this music industry, and Buck, I'm gonna go back on you. This music industry where it got so wayward and it went so far out to whereas it only benefited us to whereas it made a more platform for all this stuff to grow. I don't know if it's art or whatever people want to call it art, but what it did do was put a huge disconnect between us and our own children.
Yeah, clearly.
A huge gap.
Another hurdle that parents have to deal with.
Yeah, huge.
You don't think it was already there? That
No, man, no. Listen, I'm gonna tell you one story, right? I'm gonna tell you this one quick story. So my son, I'm DJing, right? And my son, I'm doing the DJ partying, for the family. So my son, his grandmother and his great grandmother, his aunties, they were all there. We were at the party. And so I told him, first thing he wanted to do was put down niggas with attitude. That's what he wanted to do. And I looked at him. I said, boy, look out there at your crowd. Look out there at your crowd. Don't justify what you feel on yourself to subject everybody else with that. Be careful what you do. And he played it. He went on it. He didn't listen. And I stood in the back and I laughed.
Which one? Which one?
I stood there. Man, come on. You know that my mind went blank on that. That didn't even register in my head. Because the minute he played it from his mama, they all were up in arms. They were all up in arms. Immediately, that kind of stuff, and we begin, radio people, all of us start justifying that type of activity within our own families. Mm-hmm. And we let that come in there. And that music, that music has put a chasm. It has made a tremendous disconnect. We accepting stuff that we know ourselves is BS. And we allowing our kids to have that. And then we wondering why we can't control them.
That's what I'm saying. When you go back to this song, I'm telling you, and I understand what you're saying, Buck, it's not an attack on what is being used to make it. I mean, there's a recording studio, there's instruments, there's all these other things that you put this stuff together, but it's what you put together. You don't have to put crazy shit together in order to be successful. And that's what seems to be happening.
That's easy.
Well,
easy.
I think the problem is this. And
you calling it creative.
Well, I'm not a father, so and I don't have any kids, so my perspective is a little different, and I might be wrong or right. I don't know, but I do know that one of the big problems with us as old people is that we forget that we were ever young, and we sure forget what it was like being young. I know when I was young, and Mike, you used to deal with me when I was very young. I was very rebellious.
I was going to say, what was? Everybody on the panel what did you say? What?
I was really rebellious.
Like as in past tense?
Past tense. Not anymore.
I even heard Chris say it, and he didn't even open his mouth. His expression was like,
no, not me. I was really rebellious. My point being is that I think that there has always been a chasm, no matter how deep it was. It might have gotten deeper. But I think there's always been a chasm between people who are older and people who are younger, because older people forget that they were ever young, and they surely forget what it was like and how they felt.
But I love my brothers, man. I love my brothers. I love to get checked by somebody older. You can't check no youngin' today. You can't check them. When I got out of pocket, my brother said, "Bird, come here. Bird, come here. Let me talk to you." Even when I was on the set, even when I was dancing wild as a youngin' at a set, one of the old brothers said, "Bird, Reggie, come here. We know you can dance. Tone your stuff down." Mm-hmm. And there's no rite of passage between us and between the older generation and the younger generation. And I'm not blaming on maybe the old people don't want to pull them up, or maybe the younger people don't want us to pull them up. We don't know what that is, but that's something we got to throw away to the side.
Maybe there is a difference in how their attitude is in terms of not wanting to be checked.
I'm still gonna love you whether you don't want to be. I just told you I let my son play what he wanted to make his mistake, and I watched him. But here's the thing: there's a difference between hearing and listening. And it's just some people that's just hearing. They ain't listening to nothing.
Right.
And I was one of those. I was hard-headed.
Yeah. Now,
Not anymore. Not anymore, of course.
I left this comment on the screen here for a while. Jerry Andrews. Jerry, are you a brother or nephew to Scott Andrews? Scotty Andrews.
Out of Atlanta?
Yeah. Scotty Andrews was a renowned programmer.
Mm-hmm.
I met him in Norfolk, Virginia when he was still in the Navy. And he became the program director of WHIH and one of my major inspirations in this business. I don't believe Scotty Andrews would be playing some of the stuff that's on the radio today. Mm-hmm. I did not.
Now, I agree with that.
And my radio stations won without it. I wasn't liked a lot about some of the raw hip hop guys. Okay. They didn't like me because I wouldn't play a lot of that crazy shit because
remember they used to change the lyrics to soften the lyrics up for just the radio version?
They did edit radio versions, but even the edited version promoted to young minds that, hey, there's something else out here that's different than this version, and they would find it. So I felt responsible as a program director to not play most of that stuff. So to respond to Jerry's comment here, the program director, and if there is a music director anymore in a radio station, have no power whatsoever. That's dictated by corporate.
And the indie.
Well, the corporate gets the feed from the record labels. So whatever they want to play from the corporate level, it gets pushed down to the local program directors. That, my friend, is part of the problem.
Well, let me jump in on some of this, Lee.
Yeah,
and you're right too. I'd say at about 80%. The thing of it is, all the music out there for 18 to 34 stations, what we call urbans and hip hop stations, are all poisoned. So they don't even have to have a dictate that come from the record label or from a VP of programming. It's what I just told you. There's a song out there called Get Then Leave. Get your head, get your bread, then leave. And there's no cursing in that song. Okay. Then you go, okay, let me go back. Like I said, I'm consulting these stations and I'm putting the music on. I cannot put the music on. Let's say it's a Chris Brown record. I got to listen to that song from the beginning all the way to the end, because these cats come in and they'll slip a word in. They'll slip it in.
A lyric sheet.
Yeah, lyric sheet. Yeah, you almost got to have to.
But Mike, don't you remember when Snoop Dogg's album came out in '94, Doggy Style, and he was saying all kinds of raunchy shit, and we were all just sitting up there giggling, and we loved the song. But it's not like we were really influenced by this stuff. It was fun.
The reason I can't even get this out straight, because there's a story that I want to tell that I'll tell when we go into the green room later on. But there's a radio station that I had an opportunity to work at. And as a matter of fact, Lee knows this story because he came after me at a station I was programming. And the reason that I ended up leaving and Quincy McCoy and Lee Michaels followed me as the program director was because I wasn't playing this music that was inspired by a person of a different race than myself, who was promoting this at stations across the country. And he had several radio stations, one in Fayetteville, one in Washington, D.C., one in New York at the time, and several others that he was influencing with this music. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Now, yes, we thought it was funny. I'll tell you what was really funny. When I'm on one of the stations that he's consulting in our nation's capital, that Christmas, that Doggy Style album came out where the doghouse is in the front. Okay. And all the listeners, all the kids were telling their moms that they want the Snoop Dogg album, and they're buying it and didn't know how profound the album was until they heard it being played. Because
profane,
they
you
saw
mean?
profane. I'm sorry. Didn't know it until they saw the dog humping on there, but they didn't pay attention to it. They just saw the cartoon of a dog. They didn't look at exactly what was happening.
Well, you know what? I didn't know that was going on either. Now that you say it, I'll just remember the cartoon. I never paid attention to either.
No, they didn't pay attention. So all of a sudden we're getting phone calls, and they're saying, because we were playing the Snoop record. And they're saying, you all are playing that? Did you see that? Well, you bought the album. Did you see it? It's going back to what Professor said. Did you see it? You went and bought your 14-year-old kid the Snoop Dogg album because it had a cartoon on. You didn't even pay any attention to it. It's got a cartoon of a dog on there bent over. You didn't even see what he was implying.
I never even knew. Never knew.
What about the little sign on the album that they used to put a
parental advisory?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, mom and dad. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But I'm just all I was saying was the fact that when that album came out, now mind you, I was grown, not very grown, but still slightly grown. Mm-hmm. And I remember all of us would sit around and listen to that album and maybe it was because it was so well produced. I mean, it was well produced.
Very well produced, but in reference to a message that's coming from the streets.
But we would sit around and just listen to that song like ain't no fun if the homies can't have none.
Have none.
Right. That was that's pretty profane.
But
we would all be singing it, and it was just like, come on, we didn't believe those lyrics. We didn't believe it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none.
But didn't
we share our women?
I can't agree with that.
Didn't we all have times in our lives where we had wholesome times with the family? Okay, and so one of the things that's really that we didn't get a chance to say, well, this is that type. And so now, what about the wholesome type? It's that type is the one that just became and took over everything. It was like the popular took over everything, and we all got suckered into it. We all got suckered into it. And the wholesome got buried. Oh man, you don't want to be that hope. Man, that's you.
Because evil spreads faster than good.
Well, okay. Well, I'm glad you said that. So I'm gonna let you say that. But see, we caught up. We get caught up where we justify evil.
But you know what? When it's
because our professions tell us to do that.
But I think, just my personal opinion, and I could be wrong on this, I think we're talking about art here. And
I love when you say that, because that ain't nothing but a cover statement, or what we used to call it back in the day, a cop out.
Yep.
A cop out.
Is it? How is that?
Now you want to hide. Now you want to hide the saying. You want to label everything art, but now. And then let me put this scenario. Now this artist is talking about this young female girl, calling her, and she's your daughter. How do you feel about that? Is that art?
I don't have kids, so it's hard.
I know,
but
you got a heart, don't you?
Yeah,
I do. But yeah.
Is
but
that
when
art?
they call each other the B word all the time,
okay. But see, and
as a term of endearment,
and that came from us allowing that, or not giving our kids another option and telling them that you need to be listening to this, or you need to. There's no balance.
Well, if you did tell them, they might not have listened to you because you're old. That
does not mean that you're not supposed to put it out there.
Oh, no, that's true. I'll give you that one.
You got to lay a foundation. That's part of the foundation.
That's right.
Good point.
And as long as you keep going in with this old and this new type of thing, you're never gonna come together. You're never gonna do it.
Well, but you know what? Sometimes
you will never do it.
Time.
If you're looking in this direction and I'm looking in that direction, you're never going to come together.
It takes time. When they grow up,
no.
You're right.
So the minute you say OLD to an elderly person, you done turned them this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me throw this out there. Can I throw this out there right quick? I keep hearing Buck say that, the music that he was listening to did not affect him. He just took it as a, oh, wow, this is interesting type thing.
It was fun. It was fun music.
Yeah. But everybody is not mature enough to hear that type of stuff and not be affected by it. Okay. And but let me finish. Like what the professor is saying, if you lay a foundation, okay, when they run across things like what you're saying was fun,
they'll be prepared.
They'll know. Okay, because just to give you an example,
I agree.
We went to school Monday through Friday. On the weekends, we were around the house. Generally, there was social behavior that took place, like music, playing chess, learning about Monopoly, family social behavior. So when I got in the streets and was chasing behind the Funkadelic and trying to feel the funk, I had a compass and a gauge to be able to determine how far to the left I'm going to be able to go and how far to the right I'll be able to go. My mom told me one time that, I was very good at going up to the edge, but never crossing over to the dark side. Mm-hmm. And that was at a young age.
Wow. That's a hell of a compliment, wasn't
it? Look, I said, oh yeah, I know how to do that.
Close to the
yes. I'm trying not to lose my head.
But isn't that the point that I'm making is,
isn't that what you're supposed to tell your kids?
I had the foundation to be able to know where the edge was.
That's it.
Right. And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to tell your kids, as far as I know, again, I'm not a parent, but you're not supposed to tell your kids, don't listen to that. You're supposed to prepare them.
But what did your parents tell you?
But
my parents didn't tell me nothing.
What's right and what's wrong. Come on.
They didn't have to. They didn't have to. I knew.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying that the parent should tell their child not to. I'm just saying that the parent should provide an alternative
and context, right?
If they see something, they will do other things differently. The only thing that they have been seeing is the mayhem. And we as professionals have justified that for them to be involved with it because we received the French girl Monet because we have no control over what's coming into our community.
Or
don't tell me we got control. Or we don't.
Or
we don't have any control.
Or because when you're on a young station, you're basically trying to avoid preaching to these kids because they don't want to hear it. Because if you do, they're turning you away.
Listen. I don't mind a young person doing what they want to do, but they just need to have more things to see, so that the things that I told them as a child they can look at things differently. I don't know where in the world you're gonna justify for me a brother walking down with his pants halfway off his butt. Oh. Where did that come from?
Jail.
How did that get in there?
And I'm sorry, Professor.
But it all starts from home.
There you go, Baze.
The music. You gotta start.
When you said where did it come from?
And guess what? If you everybody here is a professional, and if you plan that foolishness because you got to, there's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, y'all, don't follow this stuff."
That's right.
Don't follow this stuff, and you can call it preaching if you want to, but if you tell them, hey, pull your damn pants up.
They don't want to hear that.
There's nothing wrong, whether they want to hear it or not.
They don't want it. Well, if you're telling them. And if it's falling on deaf ears, what's the point?
The point is somebody told them.
And I agree with you, by the way. I totally agree with you. I hate to see that. But
if somebody tells them, see, first of all, when you tell them, it's going to be like a seed planted into fertile ground.
But then it gets them to stop listening to you.
Wait a minute. So at some point in time, that seed is going to take root and say, somebody cared enough to tell me to pull my damn pants up, and I need to pull my damn pants up.
That's going to be years later, bro.
It doesn't matter.
Listen, this is not a new problem.
No.
pants hanging down has been around for more than 20 years.
I used to love it. I used to love it being rebellious and stuff like that. I love that, because we all go through that phase. And then, as I had my own kids,
disrespected your parents,
right? But as I had my own children,
would you say, Lee?
I was going through things. My mama would pull me to the side, and she said, and would be laughing, Yeah, you did that to me. Now you're getting it back on. And she would be laughing. But then she would come to me and she'd say, this is what you have to do. You don't necessarily go at them on the level where they're going to get into a position where they're going to be defensive. You are supposed to be of the superior intellect. And maybe that may not be the case, but you should trick them into doing what you want them to do. Right. And that's going to take you being creative. You don't argue and fuss with them. You don't argue and fuss with them like when my son played that NWA in front of, I didn't argue and fuss with him. But when he saw the reaction, when he got caught up, then I had to stand up and shield him. And I said, look, I let him do that. I took the grunt. But he saw for himself what that reality was. We got to keep putting these artificial barriers between us having a relationship with our youth. What the?
You do that on purpose. You know that, don't you?
Listen,
you do that on purpose.
Here's a comment from Lon McHugh, who is a radio broadcaster.
Lon.
Yep.
What's up, Lon?
Hey, JLH.
That's right. He's a pro, and I had the pleasure to working with Lon when I was running the station there. Let me just tell you, this discussion we're having is exactly right, and we've been talking.
Oh, he's so good. He's so on point too.
20, 30 years now. And we have lost control of our youth. In every city in America, we're having high rates of crime. I was talking to the owner of DKX in Rochester, New York. He said to me just yesterday, Lee, we're number 2 behind Chicago in murders and shootings.
Rochester?
New York, number 2 behind Chicago. And I said, well, what are you doing about it? He says, well, I don't know what to do. So we jumped into a conversation about what to do. I said, be careful of what you're playing on the air and broadcast some positive images. Try to inspire the young and tender minds, because this has been going on for a long time. He's a black man, owns a radio station. His mother and father started the station 30, 40 years ago, and now he's running it. And he's a smart guy and he's a very conscious guy, and he's trying to do the right thing. He doesn't play a lot of that wild stuff. He doesn't. Now, he's got some competition in town. He used to be the only urban station in town. Now he's got a couple of stations that he's competing with, and they're playing all the stuff that he doesn't want to play. And I told him to stay on point. Don't let them pull you to the dark side. Now, he's the owner of the station, so he can do what the hell he wants to do.
That's right.
He doesn't have a job like most of the program directors, not most, all of the program directors around the country. Unless you own the station, you got to do what they tell you to do. And that's part of the problem. And the people that are telling you what to do, you're going to do because you want to keep your job, because it's not like you can go across the street and go work for the competition. I had that pleasure. Doesn't exist anymore because the better stations are owned by one company. And if you're not working for that company, there's a number 2 and a number 3. But once you get blackballed with all 3 of those major operations, that's your ass. You're February. You're Black History.
Right. That's if they have jobs available, because a lot of times it's all voice track from another market.
And so I really feel for the professionals, because you caught between a rock and a hard place, man. But there's got to be another kind of way we can send some type of alternative. It reminded me of the 1963 Children's March in Alabama, when the DJs, Tall Paul White, Shelly the Playboy, all these cats, they were speaking in code, telling these kids how they were supposed to act at that time. And so, there's some of the things for us as professionals, how we got to try to help the babies. Why I ain't trying to get buck wild and argue with them, okay? But then again, you can't just say, baby, you can't keep doing this like this, because all you got to do is look at the situation today. It's still messed up with a capital F. I don't care how many of us is rich. It's still messed up with a capital F. We ain't been no further. We asking, if you look at the 10 demands on the March on Washington that Bayard Rustin gave, if you read them, we ain't in no better position 50 some odd years later.
We don't have control.
We don't have control. That's Lee, you just hit it.
Mike.
Yes.
What percentage of all the radio stations in the United States of America is owned by a black person?
2%.
Are you sure?
Is it that high?
Less.
He set me up because we just did it. We got the list. 8% females, 70%, 76% white. Now we're talking about broadcast terrestrial stations.
Okay, good. Come on.
2% African American.
Out of the, what's the whole total? I mean, is it 50?
We'll send it to you.
Okay.
100%.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. It's based on 100%.
No. I'm talking about how many thousands.
How many thousands of what?
How many thousands of stations?
Numbers of stations.
No, 8,000. The total number?
Yeah.
Over 16,000 stations.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's good.
But listen.
2% of that might be what? 100 and...
Does that include Radio 1?
190?
Yeah.
It does.
But Radio 1 has been trying to divest, haven't they? They've been trying to get out of radio, get out of the terrestrial stations, haven't they?
No.
Well, I asked that because they're publicly traded, so now they're technically black owned, but are they really black owned?
Well,
there you go.
I don't know.
Well, it all depends, or you have to look at their stock. That's how you have to make that determination,
right?
Because they're publicly traded,
right?
Okay, but going back to the number, it's at 2%.
Man, it's amazing that a publicly traded company can survive under private equity or in an era of private equity.
Well, they can't. That's why everybody's in trouble. That's why the largest of the consolidators was $24 billion in debt and had to do restructuring. Okay. The number
Cumulus
two,
or
we're not calling names.
Oh.
So, and I say that respectfully, but you don't want to get into the minutia.
That's right. That's right.
Just guess what it is. Okay. The number 2 group behind them. Okay. The number 2 group behind them is in the same position going into their second bankruptcy.
Oh, I know
Wall
what
Street.
that is.
Stop it.
I do. I'm not going to say it.
Okay, stop it.
We all know.
Well, I'm just saying that's right, exactly. So leave it there. You can't protect yourself. If you say something, you can find yourself in a lawsuit. So you don't. That's why I said you have to be careful about what you say. Don't just. Sometimes it's good to
I
be
didn't
funny.
say it.
Okay, but you asked, so don't ask. Okay, just stay out of that.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right, thank you. All right. So the thing of it is, the game plan is really in a situation where they asked for it. They wanted all the radio stations. They wanted to run all the radio stations, and then they got all the radio stations. They agreed, and then found out it costs money. So Wall Street came out about a year and a half ago and said, we're not lending the radio any more money. We're done. Because every time you restructure in bankruptcy, you cash everybody out you owe money to.
That's right. The banks and private equity investment bankers, nobody wants to touch radio.
They get screwed.
Yeah, because
and then they're asking right now to consolidate more. They got that on the table with.
Well, that you're absolutely. Well, here's what it is. So the NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, is saying, well, if you guys are having these problems, then let's just lift the caps. So if we have a particular market and there's 8 AM stations, then they'll let one company own all 8 of the radio stations. Now
They're saying because nobody gives a shit about AM right now. So
well, some of that is true, but it's just one of these situations where so follow this story. So this comes out, right? So nobody's saying anything, and Lee and I had a conversation about it, and then we found out we done made Ron mad. He's gone. We find out about it, and nobody's saying anything. Since that time it came out, 100 groups came out and pretty much have gone against it. Mm-hmm. The biggest person, and the reason why we're not saying names, guess who it is? The largest consolidator came out and said, don't lift the caps. We ain't interested in owning the stations. We got the ones that we want. You see how crazy it is?
Right.
And so the thing of it is, when you look at this situation at hand, and we're talking about the music, because we're not trying to get into the minutia of just operating radio stations. But what's happening is now all the urbans and the hip hop stations are losing ratings because the kids done already left them because they want to hear the records that have the profanity in it and give those profound statements. They can't hear that on terrestrial stations because they'll lose their license.
Right. And you got to ask yourself the question, why are they even playing these damn songs if every other word is muted out? It sounds so stupid.
Well, they don't. The thing of it is, they don't have a choice, sure. And there's no other songs to play.
Yeah, it sucks.
You see what I'm saying? You got a major divide. The Temptation, you didn't need an urban and an urban AC when we were coming up. The Jacksons, the Silvers, James Brown, whatever was on. You didn't need any of that. Mm-hmm. You didn't need a classified format outside of a format that was attracting an African-American audience. But you didn't need a divide inside of the audience. So now we have a divide, a station that plays to X, Ys, and millennials versus a station that plays to boomers. And so, but it goes all the way back 360 to what the professor has been saying all night. If you don't create leadership with your children and young America to say, why you got your pants down? Well, because Khalil, he wear his pants down. Did Khalil tell you the reason that he got his pants down is because he found out, or does Khalil know that wearing your pants down was a signal that was used in the prison system to let another prisoner know that you were available for sex? Did Khalil tell you that?
Is that what that was?
That's what it is.
I didn't know that.
That's what
I knew it was a prison thing, but I didn't know it was that. Ooh.
Buck, come on. We even had your head in the sand.
Negro, I really did not know that. Wow. I'm a goody two shoes. I was a good boy.
And actually, Mike, it goes back even further than that.
Okay.
Back when they used to parade slaves across the slave block for auction, they didn't have any belts, and their pants used to hang down during that process as well. So someone had traced it back all the way back to the slave trade, because we were not allowed to have belts, and pants would fall and sag during that time. But they didn't care, because they didn't care if we had clothes on, because they were inspecting everything during that time. So it was part of a time of degrading towards Black men, women, everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So, the thing about in prison, that's recent. So if you go back, to the slave trade, that's something that has been degrading towards Black people even longer than the prison thing.
Now, this is where I'm going to give you some credit, Buck. See, when you talk about the art, I give a lot of these artists that's in the hip hop game, they study. They know what they're doing, and they know what messages they're putting out there.
That's exactly
they just don't know how damn dangerous it is when you put something out there.
What makes you think that?
What makes me think what?
That they know exactly what they're doing, and they
know exactly what they're doing.
Why do you think they're doing it? Because
they're doing it?
Trying to make money. That's why they're doing it.
No.
Now, listen.
value.
Oh man,
To
Buck.
their advantage.
Oh man, let
And
me.
they know, no, let me finish. And they know that there are a lot of weak-minded people
Exactly.
who grasp this. It's the same thing as the people that believe that Donald Trump won the goddamn election. It's just not true. Okay, so there are a lot of ignorant. I'm gonna just lay it out there. A lot of ignorant people that will go for the okie doke, and because it's been going on for so long, it's now acceptable. But it really isn't. It's look at the erosion of our families and our communities.
Absolutely.
It's no question in my military mind that it has an impact. When I go to the mall, when I'm walking down the street or driving in any city in America, and I just came back from a ride with my son, my youngest boy. We started out in Las Vegas. We ended up on the East Coast. We had North Carolina, Virginia, back to the Northern Virginia, went through the Rockies. We did the whole thing, and I saw the same bullshit every black and white folks.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, it's not just black folks. Right.
Yeah. With do-rags on in a truck stop. White boys with the pants hanging out.
With the slides on and the flip-flops now. They just went batshit crazy.
Yeah. And I'm going, what the hell is really going on?
Man.
So we have a serious problem.
Well,
Now,
you know what? Hey,
let me
go ahead,
rewind
man.
just to help you out, Buck. And I'm not picking on you, but I'm trying to get you to understand and broaden your mind. When I grew up through the 60s, okay, I grew up on the Motown sound and everything that was at that time, the Beatles and all of that. People thought we were crazy because I had a big ass afro. I wore the bell-bottom pants and the freaky looking, tie-dye shirt and all that, semi-hippie. But that was the fashion. That was what was happening.
Right. That's
okay?
right.
But it didn't change me inside and my heart, my mind, and my morals because my family didn't allow me to go that way. So it's just a fashion statement versus a lifestyle. And now it's a lifestyle that's out of control. And we're losing our kids every day.
Now, you ever think about the fact that you are a different kind of kid because you are more of a leader than a follower? And there are a lot of followers.
You're right. And that's part of the problem. But we're not teaching kids how to be leaders.
There you go. Now you hear it. Chris, what were you going to say? Because you was giving the pop.
Yeah, thank you. I was saying about going back to the whole thing about foundation, and it starts from home. And it used to be a term we don't hear nowadays called generation gap.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we all had that between our parents and grandparents and such forth. And for example, we talk about music, obviously, on the program. I think about my dad. So my dad loved blues. If it wasn't about B.B. King or Bobby Blue Bland, don't come near him. So I grew up in the 80s. My teen years in the 80s. So I love all types of music during this time. My dad walks into my room. I guess he's trying to bond with me. I guess he's like, okay, the motherfucker lives in my house. I'm trying to bond with him. So he goes over to my wall. I had a poster up there. He points to it. What's this? I said, it's Culture Club. He said, what the fuck is a culture club? I said, it's a group, it's a band I listen to. And he looks at the group again. Who the hell is this?
George. Yeah.
Boy George. What the fuck is a Boy George? I said, Daddy, lead singer in the group. Yeah. What do you mean he? That no goddamn he.
I thought that was a girl.
Exactly. So I guess he figured, okay, I'm gonna try to bond with my son. Then he's like, okay, what's that song we play all the time? That Princess on the Bike, with all the purple shit. What's that girl's name? Prince. Right. Him.
The girl.
Right. Play that song you play. I'm gonna sit and listen to it. I don't like it, but I'm gonna sit down and listen to it for once. I'll play When Doves Cry, the long version. So the reason why I had to play the long version, I wanted to see my dad, squirm a little bit, because he could not stand it in the beginning. So I played the whole long version. Dig if you some, I mean, he literally was not liking it.
You should have played Erotic City.
I ain't stupid, mind you.
Right, exactly.
I played the long version. When he got finished listening to it, he said, okay, tell you what, I don't like the mother part and the father part. That's bullshit. But he is a musician.
Mm-hmm.
My point is that we bonded that day through music.
Right.
If you make the effort to, you just be surprised at the outcome.
Oh yeah.
You can't be afraid of someone who doesn't have knowledge yet. You can't be afraid of people who are younger than you. Don't be wrong. They don't want to hear it, fine. Not everybody is meant to receive the message. But the ones who do, nothing beats a failure but a try.
That's right. That's right.
And a lot of us have not tried.
That's right.
We fear them on sight and they want to hear it. Ain't no fear. Ain't no 15-year-old. I'm not going to fear. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not talking about violence, him bringing out a gat, somebody that's trying to shoot me. No, I'm talking about just man to man or older man to young man or younger woman, whatever, and have a conversation. If the ones who want to hear it, they'll hear it. The ones who want to listen to it, I mean, it's fine. They don't have free will.
I was going to say that a lot of them just don't want to hear anything.
And that's
anybody
cool.
old has to say. Yeah.
And that's cool.
But that's one. And again,
because it lost respect for the elders.
And again, and you know, and that's one of the words. That's one of the words that I don't use, and I deal with these young people every day in class, you know, and so I took the onus off of me. Look, don't even deal with me. You can forget who I am. I said, but what you should respect is this classroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you should deal with is the classroom, man. F me, I don't care. But it's this classroom you got to deal with. It's this classroom. I'm the one that's going to give you the grade, and that's going to be based on your performance. But this classroom, don't come in here late. And I'm not on their case about it. Don't come in here the way you want to. I said, because what that's going to eventually end up doing is giving you something that you ain't going to like, and then you want to blame me for it. The one thing I love and I play this for my students, and it came from the president of BET Networks, president of media sales. What's his name? Louis Carr. Luke Carr, I played it for him. He said, we got to teach the children to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
Amen.
That's the greatest thing that you need to learn. And so I dropped that on the kid. Don't listen to me. You ain't even got to listen to me say this. But I said, listen, I take that little 4 minutes out of his speech, and I said, now you got to analyze that.
The show is easier than done, though.
Huh?
It sure is easier said than done.
Now, listen. The thing is that it got to be out there. There's nothing out. Buck, what you ain't dealing with is the fact that there's nothing out there to help change the children. Mm. There's nothing out there, Buck. And you just want to say, well, yeah, they got their own mind. Just because they got their own mind, that don't mean they got to use it. All you need is time, baby. That's all you need. That's all you need is time.
Yeah. You know, what I saw in the comments a little while ago, somebody asked the question, you know, are we mentoring and are we leading? You know, are we leaders? You know, and I have to applaud my brothers that are on this platform because they could be anywhere else but here. And we all religiously show up here to pour out what we have to offer to those that can hear it and those that don't understand it. We show up in a leadership role, in a mentorship role, to give the benefit of our experiences in our life for the benefit for them to be blessed by our lives.
Amen.
You know, and we do this, you know, and Lee said this a couple of weeks ago. We ain't getting paid, not yet, you know, but we show up, you know, and we're devoted to this process of giving see, this is documented. Right. It's on every platform out there. You know, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's everywhere. We cannot undo this. And if somebody runs across what we are doing as men, they see how men act. They see how men impart.
Yes.
You know, we don't all agree on every topic and subject, but we all get to a point where we understand that it's value in the words that are coming out of our mouth. You know,
Amen.
the professor teaches in the classroom every day. I ain't in the classroom every day, but people that come in contact with me can't help but take something away from the conversation. Lee and I, we chit chat and BS around at least 4, 5, 10 times a week, whatever. We don't even count. But we, you know, but we bring value to the conversation. You know, and I always tease him, man, you always giving me some homework to do. You know, and he always sending me somewhere to do something. I'm like, hey, look, can't you go play with your wife or something and leave me the hell alone? You know,
oh, Corey.
You know, but the point that I'm making is value in what we say and what we do.
Absolutely.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, you know, and I hope I answered the point that a person said in the comments about do we? Yes, we are all leaders. We all got shows.
Yeah.
You know, me and Mike then start kicking it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You know, and look, he done got slick with his. He don't even call me unless he know he got an hour to kill.
That's right. You gonna be on the phone with Ron. I get all my stuff out the way because you gonna be on the phone with Ron for about an hour, 2 hours
at least.
You know, but it's keeping it real. You know, and we bring what we bring to the table, and it is a value. It is of value, and I love my brothers and all that we do.
We love you,
and
too,
you know, and people can see the love and understand the love, and that's what's gonna make the change that needs to happen.
Yeah. And we're going to be consistent in doing this because we're all committed to doing it. And next week, once you guys, everybody is viewing us right now, why don't you invite some young people? And hey, look, we can bring them into the discussion, not just through the chat. I can send them a link, the link online, and you guys can join in. But let me just say this too. And Chris, I know we got to get to your story, so we're not going to leave you with your pants down.
I could drop it. Be honest with you,
No. We need to do that.
Yeah,
okay. But listen, there was a comment from Jerry Andrews about maybe putting this on TV and getting some advertising and all that. Next week, if everything works well technically, I plan to have us on TV. And I don't think anybody on the team knows this yet. But I'm in the process of setting us up on Roku. And eventually we'll be on Amazon and also on what's the other one? Apple TV. So we are growing and trying to do the right thing and try to get in front of more eyeballs. So again, if you guys would go ahead and subscribe and share and like and make comments, that helps us build the base and allows us to grow and take this thing to a whole nother level. And this is just one show. This is just one show on this particular network. We have hours every day that we can fill up. So if you guys have some content you want to get exposed to the world, hit me up, iradiocoach@gmail.com. The letter I, radiocoach@gmail.com. Tell me your idea. Let me feel your commitment, drive, and passion. And that's what I look for in talent, and look for your creativity. I don't want to.
He knows talent.
Well, I've been lucky. I've been blessed to have worked with some great talent in this country. So that's what we're doing here. We're not doing this. It's not a hobby. Okay. We're trying to bring some knowledge, some inspiration, and create some opportunities for young people.
Right. That's right.
I've got 5 other ideas. Look, I'm 71 years old. I'm not no damn jobs. I'm not looking for a new career. I've been blessed to be in this business for over 50 years. I want to help, continue to help, because I've helped a lot of people in this business. I think the 2 people on this panel, 3 people that I've never hired. Professor Buck Wild, Dr. Ron. I've hired Chris Bass and Mike Love. We've had the pleasure to work with. But let me just tell you, there's hundreds of people that I have worked with over this country. Different formats, different radio stations, and even some television. A lot of internet stuff lately. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. Until God takes me away, if I can give back any part of what I've experienced, any knowledge that I can share, I am not a selfish person.
That's right.
Ask for it, show me your passion and your commitment. You got me. I just told y'all how to do it.
Amen.
If you show that to any real broadcaster, they're going to embrace you and put their arms around you and help you.
That's right.
Period. So that being said, you've got 6 guys here that will help you in any way that we can.
That's right.
Guaranteed.
That's right.
Yep.
So we got we're about 2 hours and 11 minutes into the show. So Chris has a good topic that I think we should talk about. Chris, go ahead. It's your floor.
Thank you, Guru. But before I begin, do me a favor. Could you scroll back to what Preston Shanks said about being black? As I want to ducktail on that because
Bates, don't fire me up now.
Oh, it's too late. I'm getting ready to do it. Hey, man, look, as Lee was saying, it's going to be lit, fired, and ready to go.
Oh,
So Preston Shanks types, being black is uncomfortable in America. It's funny he talks about that because I just wrote this down last night.
Wow.
There's a quote from the late, great tennis great Arthur Ashe. It says the following: being a black man in America is like an additional full-time job.
Amen.
Yeah.
The how that resonates, because it's one of those things you just have a tough time just doing 9 to 5, your responsibilities, your family, your bills, your job, and everything else. But now, because of your skin tone, of your hue, that's another job. That's another full-time job. Not just going back to what the professor always said about being human. Now I got to worry about being human and a black human on top of that.
And he was surrounded by nothing but white folks
playing tennis. Exactly.
Yeah.
In that game. Yeah.
In that day and time, and he was from Virginia, my home state.
There you go. All right. So Melvin Van Peebles, we lost, and we're losing our giants, but we have to be thankful they came around in our lifetime.
Amen.
Melvin Van Peebles, of course, not only a quote-unquote maverick director, but a maverick black man. A man who literally changed the game. You understand your history. This movie, Sweetback's Badass Song, was a classic as soon as it hit the movie theaters. Then in 1971.
Yes, it was.
This man, by himself, had to fund the movie, get investors. One of the main investors was Bill Cosby, ironically.
Yep.
To get the movie on from movie theaters coast to coast. It was literally by himself because nobody else wanted to touch it, movie theaters wise.
Like Spike Lee did with his first movie.
Guerrilla warfare, right. You have to fund it yourself and have people also have financing. The same thing Rudy Ray Moore did, Dolomite. The exact same thing. Had to have the investors in movies to get on from coast to coast and actually go to these various cities and talk to movie houses to get these movies or movie on the air. So when you look at his body of work, another movie he directed back in the day, 1970, called The Watermelon Man. Right to this day, if you know about your black history, the one name that's not really come up as far as I'm concerned of talented actors having to be black, Godfrey Cambridge.
Oh, no doubt.
Godfrey Cambridge was lights out. He was way ahead of his time.
Yep.
And so we started this movie, maybe you may not have heard of it. It's about a white man who turns black.
Yep.
And now he's trying to deal with the complexities of going from being a white man to a black man. He still has his white family, and they're giving the Heisman Trophy stiff arm. And they're having distances because, look, my husband's black, my daddy's black. How do we deal with it? And you see it take its turn from a comedy to serious undertones and overtones towards the end of the movie. You see him completely immerse himself in black culture because he had no other choice.
Right.
He still could have fought it, but it's the fact that going back to the vision of a Melvin Van Peebles to show that it ain't easy being greasy. The only sin that I have is in my skin. So for him to lay it out through a comedy, see, that's the draw as far as I was concerned. It's comedic, it's funny, but then it gets these little footnotes of how serious it is to be black in America. Again, legendary. Again, a thought process. And then you have Mario Van Peebles, his son. Imagine what it's like to have your father in that legacy position.
See, that's who I remember. I don't remember the dad. I remember Mario because when I came along, that's, he was the one that
but it's still that fact that you have to, you follow in your dad's footsteps. That's not easy footsteps to fill. Yeah. And to his credit, Mario did a biopic based on his father called, Badass.
Right.
About how everything came to play.
Yep.
You look at generational actors and directors, for example. So again, the legacy of what your parent or parent was doing, and now you follow in their footsteps. Let's go through a couple or a few here. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Tony Curtis and Janet Lee being her parents. Michael Douglas. His father being Kirk Douglas. I'm going to throw a curveball at everybody. So remember the barbershop movies, the first two barbershop movies? Remember Isaac, the white dude that was in the barbershop that was a barber? His name is Tony Garrity. Tony Garrity is the son of Jane Fonda.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Exactly. And my personal favorite, James Earl Jones, his father, Robert Earl Jones, was also an actor.
Oh, did not know that.
Yes.
And what about Sanaa Lathan?
I know she's fine.
Her dad was Stan Lathan.
I love it. I know she's fine.
I know she's fine.
Man.
Yeah. Well,
Sanaa went to Berkeley, to Cal Berkeley, and I'm from Berkeley. So it's like,
okay.
He's always been like right here.
One of the things that we cannot forget when we talk about Melvin Van Peebles is that every actor and director that became, that became a director is standing on the shoulders of Melvin Van Peebles.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He didn't just get success and go away. He stayed involved in the Black creative community. When you talk about the Wayans brothers, they put their entire family to work in Living Color. And then,
very talented family, though. That wasn't just like, nepotism. I mean, they were really all talented, very talented. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Outstanding. But they all stand on the shoulders of Melvin. Now, one of the things that I got to throw, I got to throw a curve. Now, I wouldn't be Dr. Ron if I don't throw a curve.
Don't do it. We don't have time for that, right?
Every
fast curveball.
Every sex act in that movie was performed for real.
Which movie was this?
Let me get back to my topic here.
Sweet back.
Yeah.
Sweet back.
Yeah, let me get back.
I never saw it.
Right. Yes, a legend of a movie. It's the truth, man. We talking about the same thing.
Yeah. There was a picture on the internet that someone had posted after Melvin passed away. It was three iconic directors in one shot all together. Ozzie Davis,
Gordon
Parks. Gordon Parks, right, and Melvin. The three of them together. Just the wrapping your mind around all that history. It just on one picture.
That's right.
Impact.
It was amazing.
I mean, it impacted. It gave us what we needed to be seen as.
Yeah, I saw them, and all of them were straight class guys. Melvin in the documentary that was produced by Black Wax many years ago. He said that the primary catalyst to getting his movie out there was black radio, when we had black radio at that time. And in 71, we did have some black radio. And I think that was the lead. You might have to help me out with this, but I think Hooks was in there. Or did
Benjamin Hooks?
Yeah, did Hooks come after that? Because Tricky Dick was, former President Nixon was probably the best friend to black radio. Because when he put Hooks in there, and then he was the one that ushered in the tax certificates and then the distress sale policies. And Dick Nixon was in along on that. That's when black people probably, black ownership probably was most accelerated back then, because shortly after that time, we had all the mayors being elected and stuff. And
right,
in what was it, Los Angeles, and then Gary. And it was primarily because the ownership of black stations had increased when Ma and Pa was able to own stations, And
I'm sorry, go ahead. Please continue.
Go ahead. Go ahead. But he just did say that black radio was helped sweep back the bad, and that's when we own something.
That conversation.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Access.
So I was saying that when I was putting this together about how Melvin Van Peebles was, legacy came to mind. So I think about his legacy and what it means to us. So for me, when I think about Melvin Van Peebles, fearless comes to mind. Independent, take no prisoners. Those adjectives, those words come to mind when I think about him. So the two-part question I have for the panel is the following. How would you describe the legacy of Melvin Van Peebles? And then how would you like your legacy to be?
Well, let me start. And I'm probably going to be the oddball here in the group. I was not a big fan of the black exploitation films. So I didn't go to see Sweet Sweetback. I think I probably saw it years later on a VHS or something that somebody else had, and I probably saw it at somebody else's house.
Or Beta.
But no, none of my friends had Beta. That was more expensive. But I respected him for his ability and his creativity and talent. My legacy, I worry about it. I think about it, but I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time in thinking about what I want it to be. It will be whatever it's going to be, and I will continue to be me and do what I've been doing, and that's helping people in the broadcast business. And if I meet a stranger on the street, I try to give them some positive energy and a smile and a handshake and move on.
There you go, see.
And hope that, when I'm gone, there's something that somebody will say, well, thanks to Lee Michaels, I had an opportunity to do this. So life to me is a relay race, and somebody gave me a baton to pass on to someone else. One of those guys was related to Jerry Andrews, Scott Andrews, I mentioned, and there's 500 people that inspired me. That gave me an opportunity. Keith Adams, Kearney L. Anderson, Paul Todd gave me my first top 40 job in Norfolk, Virginia. I could go on and on and on and on. Ernest James hired me to come to WGCI to assist Barry Mayo, because Barry was still green at that time, didn't know a lot about programming. He was creative and had a lot of energy, but he didn't have the structure. And tons of others. I know I'm going to piss off somebody. Jim Maddox hired me 2 or 3 times. So when I look at my career and I see people who've hired me 2 or 3 times, I must have been doing something okay. Because you get one shot to make a good impression. If they hire you 2 or 3 times, that means you meant something to them and you did something right because they gave you a second chance and a third chance. And hey, man, I don't know. That's how I look at my life and life in general. We're all running a relay race. And if we don't reach back and hand that baton to the next person running up behind you, shame on you.
Well, let me say this real quick about Lee, and then the panel could jump back in as a pause. I'm on the phone with Lee about a few weeks ago, and we're jaw-jacking going back and forth. And he was talking about something about probably all the toys and shit that he got over there in that room over there. And I was like, man.
He likes talking about that stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's, he gets very excited over it. He got the little voice and everything else. He gets excited, So I was imagining what he was doing to himself. That's besides the point. So we're talking about the whole bells and whistles. And I said, man, I want to be like you. And he paused real quick. He said, no, be better than me.
I knew you were say that.
I said, damn, I don't know if that's possible, but just the fact that just without even missing the beat, to say that's that baton being passed, as he just talked about, it's beyond deep. So I got the baton right here. There you go.
Run with it.
Yes, sir.
Keep your eye looking back for the next cat coming along.
All the time.
Mike Love. I'm so proud of this guy, man. Let me tell you something. And he has been in similar boardrooms that I've been in on the corporate level and beyond, because he worked at some bigger companies than I have. And he's made a mark already. And now he's out there doing his own thing, Blue Tag Media. Y'all go to that, bluetagmedia.com, damn it. And that's what this brother is doing right now.
Thanks to you.
No, well, hey,
I caught it in midair. I was like,
yeah, you did. You might have stumbled a couple of times.
I did. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got it, though. I got it.
And you went across the finish line. So that's the bottom line. You didn't quit. You didn't give up. You didn't fail. You fell down, but you got back up and started running faster.
Yes, sir.
And that's what makes a real man or woman that can get up from adversity and turn it into a positive situation. So, my man.
Thank you, brother.
Love you, man.
I love you back. They say failing is not a failure. And that's kind of how you have to look at it. You learn something all the time, every time you fall. And like Lee said, he's seen me a couple of times, fall on my face. And I had to get myself back up and do what's necessary to get the job done, because it ain't easy. The adversary is out there, and the battle, every time you try to win something, they're trying to take that medal back. And when I was starting to look at the bio of Melvin Van Peebles, and it says he was an American actor, filmmaker, playwright, novelist, and composer. And that's what you have to be in life. You have to be a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. I'm a marketer. I'm an affiliate person. I'm an on-air personality. I'm a radio DJ. I have to be a little bit of everything in order to get somebody's attention, because they may be looking over here, but I'm looking over there. And I'm always fortunate to be around true professionals. Just like you're proud of me, Lee, I'm proud of Buck Wild. Used to get on my damn nerves.
A lot.
But it kept me on my toes. I'm in New York. I'm programming. Where we at? BLS or? BLS. And he was always doing something. And at this time, they didn't have cell phones in the car. So I'm going down the Harlem River Drive trying to get to Teaneck, New Jersey. And I got to get off in the Bronx to get on the payphone that somebody had just urinated in to call him and Kid Capri because they paying records with profanity in it on the air like they didn't freaking know it. Oops, my ass.
Oh.
But he was always trying to impress me. And that's what I respect about him the most. I never asked him to do anything. I never asked him to kiss my ass or do anything, but he was always trying to show me, Mike, I got it. I said, well, sometimes you got to sound like you're having fun, because Buck has the thing where he can kind of talk over you a little bit. So he decides to get on and he's going to read the ingredients off the back of an M&M's package. Hey, I didn't know it had crossoflavonoid. What the hell does that mean? But he was always trying to reach that goal. So he knew I heard you. He couldn't just take simple orders. He had to show me. He had to dive off the Empire State Building.
Watch this.
Let me know. Yeah, right. That's it. And that's what we all have to do. You have to be a little bit of everybody, and you got to do a little bit of everything to be successful.
Yes.
But let me tell you, one thing that most people don't know about Mike is that Mike was super patient. He was patient with this kid who was really, I was such a pain in the ass, but he knew that my heart was good and knew that I was really just trying to be the absolute best, because I was in New York City and, all these people came. I came right after Frankie Crocker. I'm like, how could you make an impact in New York coming on after Frankie Crocker? And I would
reading the label off of the M&M package.
I'm telling you, that was a fun game too. I love that game. I was playing all
the job was to maintain the audience that he handed you and take it up a notch or two.
Mike, I'm telling you, and I would try something. I'd try something. Mike would say, "Don't do that.
Don't do it."
So the next night, and you know what? Next night I'd try something else.
Yeah, payday.
Don't do that.
Snickers. He had a whole vending
trying.
machine worth of
How do you
labels
get
to read.
mad at a person that he's seriously trying? Now, if he was trying to fuck with me, it was a different story, but he was dead ass serious. He was really, really trying.
I was trying.
And
you know what it was?
for him.
It was because I really wanted to do mornings, and Mike was doing mornings. So I really wanted to show him, you know what? I could do that. One day I could do that. That's what I really want to do. I'm gonna do it at night.
You the PD, you don't need to be on the air. What are you doing? Mike, why are you doing? Just put me on, And he had a crush on the girl. I was on with a young lady by the name of Lisa Lopez. He loved that woman.
It wasn't sexual though. It wasn't sexual at all.
I didn't say it was. Are you guilty?
Yeah,
No,
paranoid.
we had a lot of fun. We were friends.
Or a while, are you guilty?
we were really just friends.
No, she loved him. But that's what it was all about. And that's why I said, when I go back and I look at this guy being an entrepreneur in the film business, I look at Lee being an entrepreneur in the media business. And I look at my cohorts here on the show who I don't fall in love easy. I do, but I don't. But I'm in love with the professor. I'm in love with Dr. Ron. I'm in love with Chris. I'm here every week because I just get a kick out of it. I tell people all the time, if they're watching, they'll tell you. I tell you all the time, my friend circle is the size of a pinhead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't keep a lot of people. If I'm around you, I'm so fucking comfortable, you probably could rob me blind and I wouldn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
These guys here, Lee, Ron, Chris, Reggie, Buck, could rob me because I only hang around people that I'm fucking super cool with.
Amen.
The inhibition it comes all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
And that's where I want to be. And Lee, I get sick of his psychic ass because he always knows where the hell I'm supposed to be going before I fucking get there.
he is kind of asinine in that way.
You know, he got me tied up in the back of the van. I'm like, going, shut up, motherfucker. I'm taking you where you need to go.
Oh my God. He got you, Lee. He got you.
So that's my spill, Chris. Thank you. That's my spill, Chris, on the parallel of a Melvin Van Peebles, and what you give is what you get back. Yeah, and he had to he got back and passed it on to his contemporaries, you know, in the business of what needed to be done. He inspired, you know, the Wayans and all these different people, and George, not George, was it what was his name? Bill Duke. I'm sorry, Bill Duke.
Oh yeah,
right.
You know, directors like that a lot of people don't talk about, but that guy's got grit. He's got grit, and that's what it's all about, you know. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Lee and Chris.
Good story.
And thanks for wrapping it up.
No way, man.
I didn't wrap it up. I turned it back over to the moderator.
Okay, Buck, let's hear your story.
Okay, well, so I can't really speak to Mr. Van Peebles because I really didn't know who he was until, you know, recently. But my legacy, you know, I've always been about helping people, and Mike definitely knows this. And you know, I'm a Virgo, so I tend to be kind of critical, but the critical is always in the spirit of trying to help people be better, get better, look better. When I first started talking to Ron about doing an intro for his show,
the El Sereno area off of Alhambra Avenue. This is the 4900 block of Alhambra with across a Valley Boulevard, and we're seeing.
I have no idea where that was.
The police chasing somebody.
I don't know.
Anyway, so so Ron was gonna have me do an intro. As a matter of fact, I just finished his intro today after how many weeks it's been? Sorry, Ron.
About 10 weeks.
Yeah. But anyway, when I first saw his show, I was like, okay, Ron, before I do an intro for you, I want to help you make this look a little bit better aesthetically. And, you know, and it wasn't to criticize him. I know we go at each other on here, but we talk all the time. And that's my boy. He knows I love him to death. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to help him have a show that looked a lot better before we even did an intro, because it was like, well, what's the point of doing an intro if the rest of the show looks like shit? And it just looked a little old. That's all. And so I did a whole bunch of stuff.
There you go.
No, old meaning like
he be wearing that word, the freak.
No, not like old, like made him look old. It was like maybe like a 90s show versus something that looks a little bit more modern. So I did a whole bunch of stuff for him, and I didn't even charge him anything. It was just stuff I wanted to do to help him out. And his show looks fantastic now, fantastic. But it was just because I wanted to help him out. And that's just the kind of person I am. I like helping people out. So when I'm gone, I want people to say, you know what? He helped me out a lot. You know, I remember when I first got to Birmingham, we had a lot of part-timers who had they had a lot of talent, raw talent, but they just weren't polished. So you know how when we first start in urban radio or in CHR, a top 40 radio, we have these basically a bunch of rules that we follow. They're called formatics, right? They're basically the structure of how we do top 40 or urban radio, black radio. And nobody had written it down ever. You would always just learn from the person who taught you. They just, but it was never written down. So I wrote this down in a document just to give to all of our part-timers. And I must have sent it to one or two PD friends of mine. And they were like, this is genius. And somebody just recently gave a copy of that back to me and said, you know what? This is what you did 20 years ago. And I've given it to every jock that I've ever had. And I was like, wow, so maybe I did help somebody. I just couldn't believe it never been written down before. I was just doing it just to say, okay, here, check this out, use it. Hopefully it'll make you better. And I'd be the one to call up a part-timer. Hey, it's Buck from the morning show. Hey, Buck. It'd be somebody who only did 1 day a week, midnight to 6 a.m. I'd be like, hey, that last break, great break. Next time, save the call letters at the end and see how it goes. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Nobody ever took the time to do stuff like that. And again, not trying to criticize them or be mean or anything like that, just trying to help you out. Remember, that used to be one of my favorite phrases, Mike. Remember? Hey, I'm just trying to help you out.
I'm just trying to help you out. That's all. And you know, it's funny that you brought that up because, and Ron and Lee probably can attest to this, because you do like to help people out. And there was a good friend of ours, his name is Sammy Mack, and he was struggling with whether he was going to move to Birmingham or not from Atlanta. And then everybody tried to warn him about going, and I'm surprised he didn't call you and ask you, should he go or not?
Oh, he did.
Did he?
He did.
Okay.
And you hung up on him, didn't you?
And what'd you do? You didn't listen to him or something?
He just, you know, had a mind of his own.
Oh, okay. Because I know you like to help people, and he's a good friend of mine. I love him to death. You know,
I know,
and so
that's right, bro.
I didn't know if you had talked to him. You know,
and
he wouldn't listen. He heard what everybody said to him, including me. But he went anyway because you know what he said. You know what he said? He said he didn't want to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Ah,
he said you want to at least try it out,
and I
give it a chance,
attest to that too,
see what happens.
Mike, I can attest to it. Yes,
okay.
I can. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I mean,
That's what
he
he
had
said.
just brought it up, and I didn't know because he does like to help people, and I figured I didn't know if you had talked to Sammy and told him. You know,
yeah, I talked to him.
That was brilliant, Mike. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, he's not as dumb as you think he is.
He's
just trying to give it a shot.
Yet to be determined.
He was trying to give it a shot. At least that's what he told me.
Yet to be determined.
Yeah. But he sure is. He did say that he was glad to be back, though. I'm glad that.
Yeah. While we're on Buck Wild, let me just show you a little bit of his talent. I have a copy of what he did for Dr. Ron.
Yeah, that's the new intro right there.
Outstanding.
Go ahead, Ron.
Outstanding.
So you did like it, Ron. That's what I'm saying. You did like it?
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
I tried to call
That's
you
nice.
back, but you didn't answer the damn phone.
I was taking a nap. You know how old people take naps.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
We should do a drinking game every time Buck used the word old.
We'd be drunk as hell.
Hey, people get on my ass.
Motherfucker.
People get on my ass about that all the time. I love using that word old.
Yeah. So who's next, Lee?
Dr. Ron, you're next.
All right. Well, first of all, I love the work that Melvin did. You know, I enjoyed it greatly. Followed his career. Every time he did an interview, every time he did a public appearance, you know, I enjoyed it so much, you know, and, you know, the details behind the scene, what was going on, you know, and as a young person, you know, watching this movie, you know, and then hearing how it came together, you know, it had that much more inspiration for me. You know, so as a creative talent himself, I just, you know, I felt like, man, he laid it out there, you know, for people to be able to enjoy his work. And he actually laid a foundation. Anybody remember Tony Brown?
The
program director?
The talk show host?
Yeah, talk show host.
The talk show host. Yes.
Tony Brown's Journal.
Okay.
Yeah, followed in the footsteps of producing his and distributing his own movie. Now, the movie wasn't worth doo-doo, you know, but he used the formula that was laid out by Melvin on how to, you know, and Dolomite and all those other guys. They rented movie theaters in every major city and used, like the professor said, black radio in our community to pack those movie houses out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay, so there was a formula that was laid out that was, a stair step to success. And even though the movie wasn't crap, people still went out to see it to know that it wasn't crap.
It was about supporting another, creative person.
Exactly.
Who happens to be.
Yeah. So now, when it comes to legacy, that's something I don't even think about for myself. I just show up every day and do what I do. Yeah. I don't put a whole lot of thought into what people gonna think about me because I really don't give a damn. I just do what I do. I show up and I do the best that I can do. And if somebody gets something out of what I do, then I feel like I'm, fulfilling my purpose, and it's all about knowing what your purpose is. And I can remember Chris, I've told the story to Chris many times. And I told him, I said, I was getting ready to quit at the radio station over there with Lamont. And I was like, man, ain't nobody listening to me. Ain't nobody paying no attention to what I'm doing. I can save my gas money, save my time, and stay at home. And I did a show one day on fathers as single parents. And there was a gentleman listening to the show. And something that was said on the show that stopped this father from committing suicide. He had gotten so discouraged and so despondent and so let down with the experiences that he was going through. He just wanted to die. And when he told me that what was said and what I said on that show stopped him from committing suicide. Now, me with my dumb ass, the only thing I could say was, what the hell did I say? Because I wanted to say it again and again, because I didn't know it wasn't those exact words. It was the fact that I was there doing what I was supposed to do that encouraged him to want to continue to be a father to his child and continue to be here. So that was encouragement, right? It was encouragement enough for me to want to keep showing up, doing what I'm doing. And I hope somebody else gets their life saved or gets inspired and able to do what they need to do by me showing up doing what I'm doing. So if that's my legacy, then to God be the glory in all things. I just feel like, hey, I'm gonna keep showing up doing what I got to do.
Amen.
That's nice. Dr. Professor Reggie DJ Miles.
Oh, you mean to tell me it's my turn to say something?
Well, I saved you for last because I know it's going to be profound.
No, man. Listen, first of all, on the Gordon Park, on the I think the thing that inspired me is the relationship that the father had with the son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that touched me a little bit more than anything. Because it reminded me of the relationships that I had with my father, my grandfather, and my brother, and to see them to play in the same movies, or to see him talk, to him or appear in some of his or in a film of his was good. I did not see Sweetback. I heard of it now, but I never looked at it like it's been said before. I wasn't into a lot of the black exploitation flicks, of course, unless it was with Pam Grier. You see, I couldn't hardly get that out, but I looked at hers. I looked at hers, and then I did look at Superfly, because that was only because of Curtis Mayfield. But many of the others I didn't do it. Now, my legacy, listen, just for me sitting up here with you guys, that's like, oh man, I'm there. I've arrived, because I've been around, and I'll tell you this story. I started doing what I was doing. I was like, didn't know what I was doing. I would come home from kindergarten every day in first grade, and when I got the book OC Dick and C Jane Run, when I got those books, and I would have my lessons all the way up to the 4th and 5th grade. I was jetting home from school, right? From grammar school, 57th and Normal. I went to school on 54th and Union called Dewey. And I was coming home, and I would run straight up to my grandfather's room, and I would talk to him. And I would always take out, he would, boy, well, what you learned today, boy? And I would start reading to him. And many years later, when my grandfather was terminally ill, I was in the room, and I was doing something else. I was off in college. I was working at the post office. I was about to become a supervisor, and I felt like the prodigal son that at the time where this man had been with me and took care of me all of my life, at the time when he was going down, I wasn't there with him. And that hurt me. And I went and I was crying. He said, well, boy, what's wrong with you? I said, Daddy, you need me now, and I haven't been here for you. He said, boy, don't you worry about that. He said, you done for me. You done something for me that lasted me and took care of me through the rest of my life. I said, well, what you talking about, Daddy? He said, do you remember when you was bringing me your lesson? I said, yeah. He said, baby, that's when you was teaching me how to read.
Wow.
And I cried.
Mm.
And so at that time, I didn't know that I was going to be a teacher.
Mm.
And I'm a teacher now.
Mm-hmm.
I see the fruits of my labor. I see one of my sons that I taught in radio now going back to Morehouse. He wants to do the same thing. I got a son that owns a gym shoe company. I got a son that's the general manager of Howard University Radio. I got daughters in Cleveland. I got a daughter that retired from radio, being out in Seattle, going from Indianapolis. She gave it up. She's doing her own thing now. Just me, Rika. I got all these things that I've seen done, and then I'm here with you guys. Man, I just feel good. I just feel good just to be, on the team, and just to be a part, and just to have fun with you guys. It's great. The thing that the way y'all see me tonight is what I want to leave. Man, we got to look out for ourselves.
Amen.
All these artificial barriers that other people place in front of them, we have to identify them and break them down. We gotta, as much as we talk, we got to listen. Certain words that puts us at odds, we got to eliminate. Because the thing is for me to get closer to you, not to get further away from you, because they are the results of which we see now today. A high murder rate in Chicago, another high murder rate in this area, another high murder rate in that area. When I got to do Willie Hutch, brothers, we got to work it out.
Hey.
Amen.
Mhm.
Amen.
That's my time.
Now, Chris, did you give us your legacy?
No, and I'll make it brief. Because of the birth of...
Thanks.
Yeah, I walked into that one.
I was going to say, you know what?
Into that one.
I knew somebody would jump all over me, so I didn't.
Goddamn, that's the gift have size 13 feet. You walk right into shit. So, for me, the birth of my grandson, Emery, made me think about legacy. Before that, I really think about it. And my grandson, as I told people before, lives in Phoenix, Arizona. I've not seen him physically. I've seen him through technology, but I've not seen him physically. And it started to work on me a little bit because I got really emotional. I really want to hold him and be in his presence. I remember one time years ago, I was about 16. I come back home, summertime, and my dad's sleeping in my bed. I'm like, well, he has his own bed. I mean, with my mom, what you doing in here? See, Dad, wake up. The TV was on. Oh, I'm sorry. I said, Dad, why are you sleeping here? I just want to be close to you.
Oh,
Wow.
And that came to my mind when I think about my grandson, Emery. I want to be close to him.
Yeah.
And because of that, legacy started to come through. The legacy I want to leave as I continue on right now in the journey, that he listens to people. He helps people. And most importantly, he loves people.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Amen.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Good ending.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you guys again for being here, giving up your time. And we're like almost 3 hours now?
damn.
Yeah. So you see, time flies by when you're chopping up something and making some things happen, hopefully inspiring, maybe pissed off some people, made some other people laugh. I see a lot of smiling faces, comments and stuff. So, that's what we do. And we'll be back next week. Same time, same station, to do it again and take it to another level, hopefully with God's, blessings. And hopefully I'll have everything technically ready to have us on Roku TV next week.
Cool.
All right now.
Yep. So we're trying to keep it rolling. Thanks again. God bless. And we're gonna end the show today with the intro that Buck Wild did for this show. Buck, you're talented. Love you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Love you.
Because there's an opportunity there for you. Don't overlook it.
Okay.
Stay the hell out of Alabama.
Call Sammy. Give Sammy some good advice when you get a chance.
That's right.
I'm in Atlanta. What are you talking about?
I said, stay the hell out of Alabama.
Right.
Yeah, and so if I pick up the phone and call you guys, don't y'all say, "Well, damn, what happened?" I'm just calling. I'll just call.
Yeah, because you don't call.
Man, shut up, Dr. Ron.
He doesn't have time. He's a professor. He still got a job.
He scared the hell out of me one morning. He called me damn near 7 o'clock in the morning talking about, yeah. He don't say hello. He just say, yeah.
That's that P-Funk. That P-Funk be leaking out. Yeah.
I said, hello. I wasn't even woke yet.
Oh, hell.
You do it to me all the time, so what the hell?
Hell yeah. See, and then he lied. Wait a minute, y'all. He lied and said, I'm not asleep, goddammit.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Of course I'm up.
Man, I got 5 classes, man. This is
right.
I have not worked 5 days
around the clock. Don't be modest. Bro, he up at 5 o'clock in the morning playing gospel.
Man,
okay.
5
and then he playing stepping music till 3 in the morning.
That's dedication. That's love.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Yeah.
Commitment.
Yes, sir.
It's
Don't stop.
It's a lot of stuff that needs to. It's more options that need to be put out there, and if the options are out there for people to see, some folk might make different decisions.
Amen.
But when we're subject to the limited amount, even though we got all this unlimited viewing all over everywhere, but when it gets channeled down to where we're looking at the same things from the same sources all the time, and there's no options on the other side, man, we see the results right now. So I don't think, as the story goes, nothing beats failure but another try. We got to try to do something else. And the first thing we need to try to do is fix the mess that we have between ourselves. Fix it. Fix it. Lord, fix me first.
Amen.
Then when I'm through, when I'm together, then I can come and help somebody. But fix me.
Amen.
Fix me.
Amen.
Right. Yep. So true. Thanks, guys, again. And don't forget to our wonderful audience that's been patient with us for 3 hours to like, share, and subscribe. With that, good night, and we'll see you next Thursday.